All right, guys, welcome to Press X Podcast, episode 61. First and foremost, I need some feedback from my chat right now. Please let me know how the mic sounds. Let me know if I need to raise the volume or if the volume is good. I am using the same program but a different setting, and this is my first time streaming with a new setup. So I'm definitely going to be looking for some feedback. You're saying it's low. Raise the volume a bit. Yeah, it's showing up a little bit low here. I'm going to raise it. Hopefully this is better. This should hopefully be a little bit better. I mean, if it's a little bit lower, I do have my mic a little bit further away. That could be why. Maybe I could raise it up a little bit. But hopefully it's good throughout the stream. There will be some, things that maybe happen. Let me get rid of this credits real quick. I'll remove that. But yeah, this is my first time streaming with my new setup. I'm not going to spend too long talking about it because I know that some people were not very happy that that's what we spent like 45 minutes talking about that stuff last time. So yeah, we're not going to do that. I do have a dual screen going on here for the first time, so again, I'm just trying to keep everything in line here. So you will have to forgive me if if it seems like I'm a little bit distracted, because again, still getting adjusted to this. I have a new webcam camera angle, not a new webcam, but a new angle. So let me know how you guys like that. You're saying you like the camera position? Okay. You're saying the webcam is kind of low res and blurry. Yeah. I know, it's just going to have to suffice for now. That's probably the last thing, or one of the last things I actually need to upgrade. So just bear with me for now. I know that the video quality itself, like the camera quality, it's not the highest. I'm going to have to definitely invest in a better webcam. But we have Sir Speaks a Lot. You're saying, I don't think Starfield being exclusive is an issue due to the fact that the only thing we know about it is that it is in space and made by Bethesda. Yeah, we're going to talk all about that. Sir Speaks a Lot. That's actually the first topic we're going to discuss. And we have iSiler18 saying, time for some triple anus content. Yes, it is. Makes me blush every time because I still can't believe I said that so haphazardly, not realizing what I was saying. But I think it'll probably be the greatest thing that I ever say on this show. So, yeah. You're saying I can use a DSLR camera to connect to your PC as a webcam. Yeah, I might do that. I'm going to be looking into that. But the thing is, I was more focused. See, when I do the podcast, you can see I kind of blow up the webcam image a little bit, to whereas like if I was doing like a reaction stream, I would just be in the corner and be smaller, so it would just naturally make the the image quality look better because it's smaller. So yeah, just have to bear with me for now. Keegan, you're saying with the new PC, does this mean you'll do live reactions to events? Absolutely, 100% yes. So again, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown real quick, just so everybody here is aware, because I noticed last week during the podcast when I said that I might not be doing live reactions to events anymore, a lot of you were not happy about that. So I just decided to go all in and upgrade my PC entirely. This PC literally stomps my old one. I have a proper graphics card now. I don't think I have maybe I do have it up actually, so I could just tell you what I got for those who are interested. So I have an AMD Ryzen 9 5900 HS with Radeon Graphics CPU. I have 16 gigabytes of memory. I have an SSD. I think it's 1 terabyte. I have a 1.1 megabytes per second connection, so I think that's almost like a gigabit connection. So good internet. I have an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 GPU, and yeah, the AMD Radeon graphics. So I went all in. I went all in because somebody sent me a super chat, and they were like, dude, you shouldn't be having these issues anymore, man. You got a bigger channel now. And it's like, yeah. You're saying those are top tier specs. Are they top tier? I'm still somewhat ignorant to this, so I'm not 100% sure just how good it is, but it seemed like it was really good. So yeah, this shouldn't be, streaming events going forward should not be a problem at all. I have a wired connection. Like I said, it's like anywhere between 800 megabytes and 900 megabytes download and upload speed. So we should be good. After this, the only thing I need now is, I just need a better webcam. And so the great thing about this as well, another reason why I made this investment, we talk about on the channel here whether or not I'm going to eventually buy an Xbox Series X. And while I have no doubt that at some point I will, it like kind of hit me because I wasn't thinking about gaming when I bought this, but it just kind of hit me like, oh, wait, Xbox releases all their games on PC. So I could just play their games on my PC here. It's, certainly powerful enough to do that. So, yeah. You're saying get a better shotgun mic. I don't know. I mean, I can't hear what the sound quality's like, but you guys were telling me it's good. So I am using a different sound setting. So it might sound different. I may have to alter it if, I'll be looking for feedback after this podcast. For those who are here or those who are going to watch later on, please do me a favor and leave me some feedback in the comments. Let me know overall how the stream is, how the sound is, and, just anything at all. So, all right, guys, that's enough of that. I don't want to spend too long, going on and on about my new PC and whatnot. But the point is, we should be able to live stream events, no problem, and it should be good. So, yeah, before we dive into the topics, because we have a lot of topics to... You're saying my PC stomps the Series X? Wow, really? I didn't realize that. That's great. That's crazy. I mean, it was expensive, so I would expect it to be significantly better, but that's great. All right, so before we get into the topics here, because we have some very interesting topics to go over, before we do that, I want to acknowledge Mr. Hamster. What's up, man? You're saying I work too hard on VR development. Now my eyes are having issues and need surgery. Doctor said I can't play long time video games for too long anymore. I have to sell my PS5. Wish the best on your channel, man. I'm really sad to hear that, Mr. Hamster. That's quite unfortunate, man, with the VR development and whatnot. Sounds like you've been spending too much time in virtual reality, man. So I hope that gets all sorted out. It's a shame that you have to sell your PS5, brother, but you got to take care of yourself, right? You got to take care of yourself. I appreciate the super chat, man. Danny, you're saying you don't need a Series X with that PC. You can play anything on Xbox on your PC. Yeah, well, that's the thing. See, like, look, if I can get it set up relatively easy, like if I don't run into a bunch of issues, that's one of the reasons I've always preferred console gaming over PC is the fact that it's just plug and play. I've always loved that. If I can get my PC set up pretty easily to play games, then, I should probably do that. I mean, you guys are telling me that these specs are significantly better than the Series X, which, again, given the price I paid for this setup, that would make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I don't, I mean, I'm assuming the graphics card is really good. I don't know how good. Like, I don't follow graphics cards, so you guys can tell me. But that's enough of that. I apologize. Because I saw some people were not happy about me basically turning Press X podcast into my PC spec woes. But okay, we're going to get into the topics here. Before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to my members. Always keep in mind that you can become a channel member at any time. You can stay a channel member. You can become a channel member for just a month, a couple of months. Indefinitely. It's really your choice, but it's a great way to help support my channel directly in the content. I mean, don't get me wrong, you guys, send over a lot of super chats, which that helps tremendously. Again, like what you guys do here during the podcast and when you watch the videos throughout the week, all of this stuff works together to keep the channel flowing and keeping it alive and keeping it, prosperous and whatnot. So keep doing that. But huge shout out to my Play Has No Limits Plus tier. Big shout out to Junior Jackson, Samuel Payne, Josh Z, Chlorine Capelloni, David Gaines, and D-Doc. Thank you guys so much for really, going to the highest tier to help support the channel here. And then we have the Play Has No Limits tier. So big shout out to Brandon Chad Perez, Adrian Pollard, Sayan JT, Big Norman 0518, Tyson Webb 509, Shaky Shako, Space Gambler Jr., Sir Speaks a Lot, Jeffrey Hicks, Rune Gasoden, Whiskey Gaming, Ryan Butcher, Chris B, A Shorty Faye, and Quantum Stardust. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate all the support. Means a lot to me. But let's dive into the topics that we're going to be discussing, because we definitely have we definitely have a lot to wade through. I don't think that this was the most exciting week, but there were certainly some things that came out that I've spoken about at length, and we will continue to speak about them here. But there are some things that I haven't actually covered throughout the week that I want to be sure. And people always ask me, MBG, why do you talk so much about Xbox on your on your PlayStation podcast? And I realized the reason why we do this a lot is because I don't cover Xbox with any of my news-related videos at all. I don't talk about Xbox pretty much at all during like 90% to 99% of my news-related videos, or sometimes with my reaction videos I do. And so I realized that there's just a whole bunch of news regarding Xbox that I don't cover, that I do think it is pertinent to, the conversations we have here about PlayStation. So we do have some Xbox topics I want to cover today, for sure. Brett Williams, you're saying, any tips on the best way to get a PS5? I'm doing a side job and I can afford a couple of them if I want. Just need to find one. To be honest, man, I'm not 100% sure, because ever since I received my PS5, I haven't really been following like the best ways to secure one. It seems like you have to fight for it. Not literally fight. Like, you don't have to literally go out there and beat somebody up for a PS5. I mean, you can if you want. I would definitely not recommend that. I would not recommend that. But it seems like you have to basically follow. There are actually individuals out there who sometimes find more success talking about the PS5 than I do. They have channels dedicated and Instagrams and Twitter pages dedicated to just helping you find a next-gen console. So I don't know who these individuals are, but I know that they exist. And so anybody in the chat, if you know who any of these individuals are, or any of these accounts that are worth following, please feel free to type them in the chat so people can be aware. But unfortunately, I really don't know exactly what the best way to go about it would be. I mean, the only thing I could recommend is to try to be on top of it and try to be ready, and to expect to expect a fight, basically. That's my recommendation. So sorry I don't have better tips than that, man, but it is what it is. So let's move on to the first topic, okay? And also, before I do that, big shout out to Devil Shooter. I don't know if you're here right now, man. Yeah, I see you actually right there. So big shout out to you, Devil Shooter, for doing the timestamps, very in-depth timestamps each week for those who watch the podcast afterwards. Really appreciate that. Before we dive into this first topic, guys, we have over 600 people here, almost 700. Do me a big favor, hit that like button. Really helps the stream out a lot. If you are watching afterwards, make sure you hit that like button as well. First topic, let's talk about Sony's next event and them going head-to-head with Microsoft. I want to bring this up again because yesterday Starfield was trending for a bit on Twitter because the almighty Jeff Grubb, quote, confirmed, unquote, it will be an Xbox/PC exclusive and not come to PS5. So I definitely wanted to take some time to talk about this, and some people may assume that my reaction is going to be like, I don't believe Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb this, Jeff Grubb that. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm tired of hearing about Jeff Grubb. It feels like this guy, I don't know who his sources are. Honestly, like, I don't know who his sources are that they can keep feeding him this information. What's my beef with Jeff Grubb? I don't have any, like, personal beef with him or anything like that. It's not that serious. I'm just saying, like, I literally am tired of seeing his name brought up in, like, every single article that I come across within, like, the gaming media multiple times a week. And it's crazy to me because it's like, I don't know who his sources are that they just, he just reveals everything. And he has not been 100% correct. I'm not saying that to say that he's wrong about the Starfield thing, but for those who are wondering, do I believe Jeff Grubb? In fact, I want to find the tweet because I want to read it word for word because I think the way he worded the tweet is actually more significant than what he's actually saying. So let me see if I can find it. Again, I don't have anything personal against Jeff Grubb. It's not like that at all. It's just I'm literally tired of seeing it. You know, it's like every time I see an article about a rumor or something, it's coming from Jeff Grubb. And I'm just like, I mean, all right. It's another problem I have with this, honestly, guys. It's not what Jeff Grubb is saying. One of the problems I have with it is it blows my mind that the way people were reacting when we heard about this, or like this became a big news story, and here I am covering it. But I was confused because I'm like, wait, this isn't news. This isn't news at all. Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, literally confirmed this himself in March during the Bethesda Roundtable. He didn't explicitly say word for word, Starfield will not come to PlayStation 5 because it's an Xbox and PC exclusive. But make no mistake, he was talking about Starfield, a game that has not been revealed yet properly and a game that does not have a proper release date. Okay? I'm also going to talk a bit about our expectations for Starfield and what's happening, because it seems like it's falling in line with Halo Infinite and Cyberpunk. So we're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, so Sir Speaks Out, you're saying I have way too many RPGs, honestly, 400 plus hours. Yeah, dude, it's going to be difficult to keep up with all this once these games start dropping from all across the industry. But here's what Jeff Grubb said 1 day ago. This was yesterday, actually, I think it was yesterday. I mean, it was being reported on yesterday. I mean, Starfield was literally trending on Twitter, because of this. I think he responded to, I can't see the tweet. It says the quote tweet is unavailable. I don't know who he was responding to. Whoever this is, I'm blocked by them. I don't know. Or maybe I blocked them. I'm pretty sure it was Randall Thor. I'm not 100% sure. And I don't know what was said. Okay? But what Jeff Grubb said is he quote tweeted this. And he said, Starfield is exclusive to Xbox and PC, period. This is me confirming that. Now, if you were to ask me, MBG, do you believe Jeff Grubb? I'm going to say yes. And do you want to know why? Because if you're going to put your reputation on a line, that's like a hard line stance right there. That's a statement. That's not a prediction, and that's a bold statement. So I believe him. I do believe him. I don't think it would be wise to say something that definitively, that concretely, if you were not sure. So it seems that he has a very good source that he would feel confident enough to say this. But again, this is not news. This is not news. But he goes on to say, go write the story. And, he says, I thought I was ending the discourse, not starting one. I don't know. He's just going on and on. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I don't get it. There's a couple things I don't get. And I'm going to talk about that. Shorty Faye, you're saying Starfield has the pressure just like Halo did. It's either going to wow people or let people down. People are hyping it when we haven't seen that much of it. Yeah, and that's the thing here. I think that Xbox fans in particular, or even Bethesda fans to a certain extent, they may be setting themselves up for disappointment and not failure per se. But I say this because you're right, Shorty Faye, and I tweeted this yesterday. I basically said, as of right now, it seems to me that Starfield is in the exact same position that Halo Infinite was in at this point last year. I remember the expectations for Halo Infinite were through the roof, understandably so, and they should be, right? And I remember the hype coming from Halo fans as well as Xbox fans, and the expectation. The expectation was Halo Infinite is going to blow people away. Let's not mince words here. That was the expectation. And we all saw how that went down. It didn't blow anybody away. But I do believe that expectation was also coupled with the idea that this is supposed to be like the first like next gen Xbox game we're seeing. And I don't want to keep going on and on about the Halo thing. We already talked about that enough. But when you look at Starfield, okay? I don't know what this is saying. It's got a weird pop-up. So you look at Starfield, I mean, let me ask you guys this in the chat. Tell me, does Starfield have more expectation behind it than Halo Infinite? Junior Jackson, you're saying MBG, just want to point out how smooth the stream it seems. The new PC is doing work. Congrats, man. I'm glad to hear that. I had the same settings exactly that I had last time, so if it's actually coming through even smoother, then that's great. Very happy about that. I'm hoping this proves to be a worthwhile investment, ultimately. I really wanted to make sure I could do live reactions with you guys, because I think there's going to be a lot to react to in the coming months. Siler, you're saying Starfield reminds me of Star Citizen for some reason, which I see as the biggest scam in gaming. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of yeses to my question. Is there more expectation surrounding Starfield than there was Halo Infinite? And I'm going to say yes. Do you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. I think there's more expectation surrounding Starfield, mainly because I think Halo indirectly put a tremendous amount of pressure on Starfield. Now, obviously, back when Halo was revealed for the first time, Halo Infinite, we didn't know, as far as I know anyway, if I can remember correctly, we didn't know that Microsoft had any intention of buying Bethesda. But once Bethesda was bought by Microsoft, I think that just changed the expectations. I think the expectations for Starfield were always very high. And, I've had a lot of people arguing with me saying that, no, Bethesda is like a god tier publisher. Todd Howard is a gaming god, an industry god and whatnot. And, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't follow this stuff that closely to know exactly. But just from the outside looking in, I guess you could say, the last time I checked, Todd Howard made a lot of people really mad and upset with Fallout 76. And I think since then, Bethesda has not really been on fire. They have not been hitting a good stride. I think Doom maybe was the last time they really hit a good stride. Maybe there's another game I'm forgetting. But this is just kind of like my evaluation of it from the outside looking in. Again, as somebody who's not a huge Bethesda fan at all, I don't follow Bethesda very closely. But what I do know is that the expectation for Starfield was already high. And now that Bethesda is a part of Microsoft, and what we saw with Halo last year, I think Halo kind of failing to impress is now putting more pressure on Starfield to deliver the goods. I really do think that. And if you were to ask me, MBG, do you think Starfield is going to deliver? Do you think it's going to blow people away? The truth is, I have no idea. I don't feel as though I can give you a not even a definitive answer, but even an educated answer for that, because I don't know. I know that a couple of images for Starfield leaked out, and what's weird to me is people are like losing their minds or something over this. Some people are anyway. Like, some people are hyping these images up, and I checked them out. And I'm like, it doesn't look, I'm not getting anything from it other than the fact that if you are going to show me these images, okay, if you're going to show me these images and tell me this is Starfield, I'm going to say, well, that the images line up with that name you're giving me. But other than that, and you're saying, somebody's saying it was a 2018 build. Yeah, that's another thing. If that's true, then I don't want to make any evaluation or judgment based on these images, because it could be completely different. You know what I mean? My expectation for Starfield, just based off of what I've heard about it, which isn't much, I just expect it to basically be the Elder Scrolls in space. And that's a potentially very exciting thing. I do not like the Elder Scrolls. I've said this over and over again. I don't like it. Dark Souls for life. Dark Souls over Elder Scrolls. That's how I see it. I tried playing the Elder Scrolls after I played Dark Souls 1, and I was like, yeah, I can't play this. I was like, I can't do it. I know that they're very different games, but it's just like I just didn't like the Skyrim. I didn't. It felt too janky to me. Primal Plasma, you're saying Bethesda hasn't shown any gameplay for Starfield. Why are people so excited over a fancy logo? It's insane. Well, dude, that's the thing here, man. A lot of people were coming at me because I just said it straight up. I was like, dude, this is another Halo Infinite / Cyberpunk situation. We need to be skeptical of Starfield. We need to be careful. And then people are going to say, you're not like that with Sony's games. Why do you think that is? And actually, I think I was like that with Returnal. I was excited for Returnal, and I thought everything we had seen of it looked really good, but I also warned people that, we don't know. We have to play it first. We have to see how it feels to play. It looks good. We don't know if it plays good. Turns out it played great. I've been playing Returnal every morning. Still having a struggle, guys. I'm finding out I'm not very good at Returnal. But I'm enjoying it. I really am. Thoroughly. Genuinely. And so I'm just saying, it's like, you can't compare a game like Starfield to some of Sony's games. I'm not going to sit here and hype up, Sony London's new IP that's probably not going to release for another 4 years, right? I'm not going to sit here and hype that game up because I don't think they even know what that is yet, right? But what about the next God of War? What about Sony Santa Monica and their new IP that they're apparently working on? What about Horizon Forbidden West and Guerrilla Games? They have a second team working on a second game. Yeah, I'm going to hype them up because they usually deliver. More often than not, Sony studios deliver rather than disappoint. Even a game like The Last of Us Part 2 and Naughty Dog. You guys know I wasn't a big fan of the story, but you better believe I'm extremely excited for what they show next. I'm willing to give Microsoft, of all Xbox, of all brands, the benefit of the doubt in 2021. I'm giving Xbox the benefit of the doubt, saying they might really show something great this year. They might really impress us this year with their showings. And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. You better believe I'm going to give Naughty Dog the benefit of the doubt. 100%. They've earned that, right? They've earned that. I don't care. I know there's people like, after what they did in The Last of Us 2, I'm not going to hold a grudge against them. Okay? It's just not going to happen. The expectation I have and same thing with Sucker Punch, right? Like, I already know that what they do next is going to be bare minimum great. Could be amazing, but I know bare minimum is going to be great. I feel like we just can't say the same thing about a game like Starfield. I feel like we can't say the same thing about Microsoft's games, upcoming games. We can be excited, but we need to be careful. CI, you're saying, if Starfield sales tank, it will release on PS5 simply because PlayStation has more of a player base than Xbox and PC. That's why CD Projekt Red works hard to get back on the PlayStation Store. Yeah, we're going to, let's move on and talk a little bit about the exclusivity because I've been talking about our expectations for it. Fred, you're saying, I am more interested in what deals Sony has made than what Microsoft is buying up to say they have games coming. What Microsoft is buying up to say that they have more games coming. I actually agree with that 100%. I'm tired of hearing the talk from Microsoft and, frankly, Xbox fans about the games. Like, okay, you're saying the Xbox has no games narrative is dead. Okay, I guess that's fair. Volume-wise. Like, when I was talking about and getting excited about Sony saying that they have over 25 exclusives in development, people kept throwing numbers at me. They kept saying, well, MBG, Microsoft has 43 games in development. I'm like, did they confirm this? No, they did. As far as I know, and I could be wrong, but I haven't seen anything explicit. I haven't seen explicit confirmation from any Microsoft executive about how many games they have in development. I think that what people are doing is they're trying to take the games that we know are in development based off of job listings and whatnot, and they're putting them all together. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess that's true, but still, it's like, the argument I brought up to somebody was simple. I said, if you're going to say I could take 25 games from PlayStation and PlayStation's partners that are going to be PlayStation exclusives, or I could take 43 exclusives from Microsoft Studios, every day, all day, I am choosing PlayStation Studios and their partners. Very easy choice to make. Now, if Microsoft impresses me with their games, maybe that decision becomes a little bit more heated and difficult to make. But right now, that decision is not difficult. Again, it's all about expectation. And the expectation is earned, in my opinion, whether it's high expectations or low expectations. October's very own, you're saying, MBG, nothing against your face, but can we go back to showing gameplay on the background, if not at least the hybrid version? Much love to you, bro. It's hard to say, man. I mean, people, to be honest, I've seen more interaction with my audience since I've just decided to be on camera. That doesn't mean that, gameplay footage won't ever have a place. I'm actually working with my guy right now on some new layouts for the podcast, and one of those models is a hybrid. You also have to understand, and this is just being honest with you guys and transparent, me not having to worry about putting like hours worth of gameplay footage in the background for my podcasts each week has taken a lot of stress off my shoulders. Not because I don't play games, but because I forget to record the gameplay. And not only that, it is a process to transfer it over and get it up and running. And I don't want to have to worry about that every week when I'm, getting ready to do a podcast. It just takes a lot of stress off. So hopefully you understand that, man. But I do have some hybrid stuff in the works. So I'm not saying gameplay won't have a place here on the podcast, because it will, but it just might not be nearly as frequent. So hopefully you understand that, man. Appreciate the super chat. MX2323, you're saying, what do you think of Sony stock? I don't know what to think of it, man. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't want to invest in that or anything. I don't want to become like a Sony investor, because that's like, there's conflict there. I mean, people say I'm biased. The reason why I'm biased towards PlayStation is because I'm biased towards their games. Like, yeah, PlayStation, in my opinion, makes the best games. They just do. Nothing, like, there are some games that come close, and, maybe you could make an argument that some of Rockstar's games surpass a lot of Sony's games in some ways. But, pound for pound, PlayStation makes the best games. And I don't want to become an investor in Sony, because that just, that's like a conflict in my opinion. Jose, you're saying, since Sony wanted to make it a PS5 exclusive, allegedly, I think that says a lot about the game's quality. That's my take on it. Yeah, that's true. You're right. That is, we have to understand that's allegedly, so we don't know. But it seems like there is some truth to that. And I actually 100% agree, man. Like, that's the one thing I brought up in the past when we talked about Starfield, is like, Sony seems to be very in tune with what a good game is. Like, when they see a good game, for example, recently Housemarque did an interview, which IGN, and we're going to talk about IGN. IGN ran with this interview, where in this interview, Housemarque, they said that every time Sony saw a build of their game, the Sony executives, I'm assuming it's Herman Holst and Shuhei Yoshida, whoever else that's there, they were impressed with it. And they're like, we need to give you guys more money to make this game bigger and better, because this is great. Like, they knew that there was something great there with Returnal, to the point where they like, here's more money, make it bigger and better. And Housemarque even said that they could up the size, scale, and scope of the game because of that. And IGN decided to run with that, with a headline that says, like, let me find it here, just so I don't want to misquote them. Let me see. I retweeted it yesterday. And so this is the headline IGN went with. Returnal developer Housemarque reportedly heard about the game's $70 price the same time as everyone else. Oh my God. Sony's so bad. Like, if you read what Housemarque is saying, all they were trying to convey is that they were not aware that Sony was planning to increase their game prices across the board. They didn't know Sony was going to go from $60 to $70. It's pretty clear to me that Housemarque knew their game was going to be a $60 AAA title. They just weren't aware that Sony was going to increase the price. And nothing in this article headline that IGN tweeted out says anything about the positive things that Housemarque was saying about how, they wanted to give us more money. They wanted to make the game bigger and better. This is what I'm talking about, man. Like, what is this garbage you guys are putting out? What is this garbage that the mainstream gaming media is putting out? Can we be better than this? Is it too much to ask to just be better than this, where it's like, why does everything have to be? And I've been there. I have been there. I made these same mistakes myself back in 2019. I trashed Xbox constantly, and I realized that that's just not the right thing to do. I mean, it was fun, and people enjoyed it, and it was like entertaining, but it's like at some point, it's like Xbox is starting to, they're trying to turn things around. I'm still not fully on board, but it's got to stop because it's like, how many things can I spin into a negative? At what point am I just spinning it into a negative for the sake of spinning it into a negative? And this is where I'm saying, like, can we be better than this? I think we can. Siler is saying it's usual, it's quantity over quality for Xbox. 43 games? How do they know if those are going to be any good? Why hype those? We don't know. We don't know, Siler. So that's why I'm not hyping. Like, dude, I'm still hyped for some of Xbox games, but some of Xbox's games, but I don't talk about them very often because we haven't seen anything of them yet. And I'm going to wait for them, right? So, like, if we get a Ghost of Tsushima 2, which we know we're going to get, I'm going to, like, I know that game's years away, but I'm still hyped as hell for that, and I will hype that game up because I know it's going to be great. It's going to be great. There's just no question about it, okay? A game like State of Decay 3, which is a game I am very much looking forward to and excited about when it comes to Xbox's games lineup that they have coming down the pipeline, I'm hyped for it. I don't feel the need to try to hype others for it after what happened with State of Decay 2. State of Decay 3 is a completely mixed bag. I have good faith that now that their Undead Labs is a studio under Microsoft, that they're going to be able to do something much bigger than they ever could have. It may take a lot longer, but it'll be worth it. And it could be amazing, dude. But I don't know that yet. I have no idea. There's a lack of confidence. I want to have good faith, but I don't know that I'm that confident in my own faith in them. You see what I'm saying? Joshua, you're saying, MBG, have you finished Demon Souls yet? Also, when are we going to see Sony's summer showcase announcement? I'm chomping at the bit for it. So yes, I have completed Demon Souls. And it was amazing, dude. Like, it was amazing. It really made me kind of yearn for like another proper Souls-like experience after that. So I did complete it. It was, I think, I want to say as of right now, it was the best experience I've had on PlayStation 5, but I think Returnal may be giving it a run for its money, dude. It really, I mean, Miles Morales was amazing too. Astrobot was fantastic. They were all great, but I really loved my time with Demon Souls. I did complete it. Nick Taylor is saying, yo, I watched Zalker's video yesterday and shaking my head. I think that's what you meant to say there. I don't watch that. I don't know. I can't speak to it. I don't know what you're referencing, but I imagine that I would probably be shaking my head as well. Brett Williams, you're saying NES games cost $60 back in the 80s and 90s. Accounting for inflation, that would be around $130 now. Gamers need to get over the $70 price tag. I feel the same way, dude. I put out a tweet yesterday, and I don't mean to keep referencing Twitter, but it was funny. It made me laugh where somebody put out an image, I think it was of John Wick 2 or 3, one of the poster images where it's John Wick, his head in the middle, and there's just nothing but guns surrounding him pointed directly at his head. And the person put out like, say what your unpopular gaming opinion is that would garner this response. And I said, it's okay to buy games at full price in 2021. And I felt good saying that because it's true, man. Not everybody has that, intensive response. But I agree, Brett. I agree. Like, we need to get over this. I said it before and I'll say it again. If you don't want to buy a game at $70, then don't do it. If you see a game being marketed to you by Sony and you are not convinced it's worth $70, do not pay $70. You can take a chance if you want, but $70 is a lot of money. I'm not saying it isn't. I know the value of a dollar, as I'm sure all of you do, but you have to be responsible and, be mature about it, honestly, where it's like, stop crying about it. Like, Sony's not going to look at your tears and say, okay, we're going to go back to 60. I mean, if there's a game such as Destruction All-Stars that is very obviously not a $70 game, then in that case, we do need to cry about it a little bit. We need to cry out and make it known to Sony, this isn't going to fly. This isn't going to fly. You know how you do that? Do you think Sony decided to change the price of Destruction All-Stars to $20? Do you think they decided to do that because of internet outrage? No. You know why they did? Because nobody pre-ordered the game. And they clearly saw that no one was pre-ordering the game. Because I think anybody with half a brain could look at that game and be like, that's not $70. The only reason I was going to buy it at launch, because it was supposed to be a launch title, was to review it and talk about it and basically report to you guys, yeah, this isn't worth 70. But they saw nobody pre-ordered it. You know why they didn't change the price for Returnal? Because people were pre-ordering it. Because a lot of people liked what they saw. Some people didn't, and they didn't pre-order it. But not enough people didn't pre-order it to make Sony go, never mind, we're going to bring it down to $50. You got to speak with your wallet. I'm not trying to be rude to people, but you got to stop crying about it online because Sony does not care. Sony cares about the bottom line just like every other corporation. If you want them to change, then be careful how you spend your money in the PlayStation ecosystem. That's the only thing they're going to acknowledge. But it turns out when it comes to the top 5 best-selling PS5 games on Amazon, I think Returnal's at number 4. So it's selling. It's doing just fine. I lost the super chat here. Hold on a second. I do have to adjust the size of everything on my second screen because I can't really keep up with the super chats properly. Rory, you're saying with the next Battlefield being cross-gen, I gotta say I'm getting tired of everything being cross-gen. Thankfully, Sony is releasing current-gen exclusives. Thank you, Rory, for mentioning that because I totally forgot to write that down as a topic. I thought I was beyond hyped for the next Battlefield because I was like, this is it. We're starting to see some proper next-gen games. And, you know, DICE is a very talented studio that can do some crazy things. And so to imagine what they could have achieved by not being held back by the old Jaguar CPU cores and the PS4, PS4 Pro, and the Xbox One consoles had me very excited. And we found out it wasn't going to be it's not going to be next gen only. I'm still excited for it, but yeah, dude, like, thank God Sony is here. Forging ahead, man. Trailblazing in the next gen. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal. Maybe not Horizon Forbidden West, but I'm sure I know for a fact that they have other PS5 only titles in development. And I'm just glad they're doing that. I really am. So I agree, man. The Caped Crusader saying off topic, but Cosmic Red PlayStation controller sold out on Amazon in less than 48 hours. The demand for PS products is crazy. Yeah, dude, I saw in like the top 100 best sellers across all of gaming on Amazon for the US anyway. I saw that the black DualSense was like number 2, 3, or 4 or something like that. It was in the top 5, and I'm like, wow. Like, that's, like, dude, that's competing, that type of volume, that's competing with literally like $10 currency cards that you would buy for Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft. That's crazy. So yes, the demand for PlayStation products is off the chart. Well, it's not off the charts, but it's topping the charts in a lot of cases. Even Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, for pre-orders, we're still a month away from this game, or a couple weeks from this game, actually releasing. It was sitting at number 59 in the top 100 for all of gaming's best sellers. And that's impressive, dude. Like, the type of products that Ratchet & Clank, a $70 full-priced video game for a console that's still very difficult to get your hands on, is competing with these products that are like, just not in that same type of category. So it's doing really well. Ratchet & Clank is going to sell like crazy, dude. That's a system seller. Ratchet & Clank is 100% a system seller. We have Gavin. You're saying, hey, BG, how's your son doing? I hope he's keeping well. He's doing really good, man. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. He's very healthy. He's doing well. And he's getting big, dude. He's getting big. He's a big baby. And, literally a baby. He's big. He's talkative. He's not literally saying words yet, obviously, but he's doing really well, man. I appreciate you asking. Making sure I'm not missing any super chats here. I do apologize. This is the one thing I'm going to have to sort out for next week or our next stream. iSalar18, you're saying the best sellers list on Amazon has Resident Evil 8 Deluxe Edition in the top 5, which is like $70 to $80. Most don't care about the price tag except for fanboys. Yeah, that's the thing here. I mean, I have no doubt that there are people where that is like, I buy my games. So like, yeah, $70 to $80, that's a lot of money out of my own pocket to buy games. And I buy games that I know I'm pretty sure I'm going to like and enjoy and will feel that it's worth it. But that's the thing, man. It's like the people who are using that as like ammunition, as like, this is why PlayStation sucks. Like, I'm pretty sure those really are only the fanboys. I don't know who else it could be. I'll tell you right now, you know who's not saying that? The people who are out there buying the games, putting them on the top, seller lists. The Caped Crusader is saying Ratchet and Clank is already the number one game on Amazon. Yeah, dude. Right, I'm telling you, Ratchet and Clank it's going to do huge numbers, man. It really is. Sir Speaks a Lot, you're saying, I'm not looking forward to fighting over controllers. Yeah, dude, I mean, that's the thing is like, I have to imagine it's much easier for Sony to produce controllers than it is consoles. I don't think controllers will remain sold out for very long. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that's something they could pretty easily produce a much larger quantity of. I think that right now they have like a certain number where they're like, we're only going to produce this many units. Let's gauge what the demand is. And now if they're like selling out like instantly, they're like, oh, okay, the demand is much higher than we originally anticipated. Let's really pump these things out now. Because they don't want to overshoot the demand, right? Like they don't want to produce way more than they thought, than people actually end up buying. Then they just have a bunch of stock they have to get rid of over time, JD TV, you're saying Returnal, Wreckfist, and even SpongeBob are the games I platinumed in the last 2 weeks. Now it's Maneater's turn before Ratchet and Clank releases. Loving the PS5. Yeah, dude, to speak to that for just 1 second, a lot of people have been asking me, like, have I still been playing Returnal? Am I still playing Returnal? I am. It just kind of sat in the back burner for just a little bit because I was very close to getting the platinum for Dead by Daylight, which is a multiplayer game that I kind of got addicted to in April and for most of May so far. And I did not think it would be a game I could platinum. It just seemed unattainable to me. And then when I checked, I was like, holy crap, I'm actually way closer to platinuming this than I thought. I just needed to grind it out. So that's what I did. I just grinded that game, and I'm like, once I platinum this, Returnal's getting my full attention, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm slowly but surely getting much better at Returnal, and I would like to platinum Returnal. Hopefully I can. Nick, you're saying about these game prices, I remember when Doritos were 25 cents. Yeah, dude, that's the thing, man. Like, it's just the natural progression of things. It was always going to happen. It shouldn't surprise people. It's easy to say Sony's greedy, but, I mean, come on. Like, all corporations are greedy. They all want to make more money. Raiden Plays, you're saying, I can't lie, I always thought of Ratchet & Clank as a kid's game, but after seeing the amazing gameplay of Rift Apart, I have to get it day one. Yeah, dude, it's a day one purchase for me. I've never looked at Ratchet & Clank as a kid's game. I have played when I was a kid, I literally played the first Ratchet & Clank and the second and the third. I barely remember doing so, though. I don't know why I can't remember it, but I never looked at it as a kid's game. When I saw Rift Apart, I'm like, yep, this is going to be a day one purchase. Looks great. But I've become more and more impressed every time I've seen the game. Jesus, you're saying support the hobby, buy the games from the devs that make the games you love. Did I pay $70 for Returnal? Hell yeah, I will pay $70 for NBA 2K21. Will I pay $70 for NBA 2K2021? Hell no. And that's just it, man. That's it, Jesus. Like, that's how you have to operate. Reward developers that you think deserve it. Like, buy games at full price that you think honestly have earned it and deserve it, and you really want to support it. You know what I mean? That's my recommendation to people. Andrew, you're saying feels like Xbox has more controller colors than games. Yeah, dude, it does. It really does. It's kind of sad. See, I can't. That's so. Hold on. Okay, now I can see the super chats. I think better now. Not much better, but a little bit better. Okay, so I got a little bit off the rails there. Let's just circle back. Let's talk about. Let's finish our conversation about Starfield. Let's talk about the exclusivity of Starfield. I should have brought a water in here. I don't know why I didn't bring a drink. Hopefully my voice doesn't go. But let's talk about Starfield. Let's talk about the exclusivity. So we have Jeff Grubb. He's coming out attempting to definitively confirm that that Starfield is exclusive. Okay, now I'm just going to, I feel like it's easy for individuals such as Jeff Grubb, as well as all of the fanboys that he obviously made ravenous after making a statement like that. This is why it was trending. A lot of the fanboys kind of running with it. And I don't get it. Like, I've seen a lot of people come at me and are like, ha, Starfield's exclusive. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know what Starfield is. Like, no one does. Cool, I guess. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I always anticipated that. Even before Phil Spencer confirmed these games were going to be exclusive, I always said, let's assume they're going to be, just to be safe, right? And not be disappointed as PlayStation fans. But you're saying, bro, Twitter goes crazy. Jeff Grubb's tweet, 8K likes. Starfield hype is real. Yeah, dude, it is real. It is real, but it could work to their detriment. I think that, and like I said, there's a lot of expectations, and I'm not kidding when I tell you one of two things is going to happen to Starfield. It's going to blow people away, or it's going to get laughed at. That's the only way it can go. And people are like, oh, dude, you're not being fair. What, does a game have to be a 92 on Metacritic in order for it to even be good? No. Starfield could just be an okay game, like a pretty good game that maybe it gets like a low 80s score, high 70s, and that's fine. But that's not the expectation that people have right now. You see what I'm saying? They're conflicting. A lot of people, I think, do have reasonable expectations for Starfield where it's like, let's wait and see. You know, it could just end up being good, and that's fine. That's reasonable. That's actually kind of what I expect. But the loudest people on the internet are those that are screaming from the rooftops how this is going to blow people away. And that could be, that can do damage, right? I will admit, I got to give Bethesda some credit because it's not Bethesda out here or Microsoft hyping this game to no end. This is a case of they're being very silent, but that can work against them a little bit with how quiet and mysterious they've been, because now it's allowing fans to really kind of run with that narrative. See, with Cyberpunk, that was definitely CD Projekt Red's fault. That was 100% them. Like, they were telling you this is going to be the greatest game you ever play. And I don't really fault too many people for buying into that, because it's easy. Like, when they're like, if Sony said this is going to be the greatest game I ever played, like the next God of War, I'm going to believe them. And if it's not, well, then it's my fault for getting hyped up. But it's also Sony's fault for hyping me up that way, right? This is different, where Bethesda and Microsoft, they're not doing that. It's just the fans doing it. And so this is where you got to be careful, where it's like, we don't know. We don't know. Like, Bethesda isn't saying much about it. Microsoft isn't. Let's just assume it's going to be good at the very least. Maybe okay at the worst. I think that's fair, right? But we have Jeff Grubb out here. He's confirming this. I want to read to you Phil Spencer's quote. This is what Phil Spencer said during the Bethesda Xbox roundtable in March of this year. He said, "So obviously I can sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive, because we know that's not true. There is contractual obligations that we're going to see through, as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms, and we're going to go support those games on the platforms they are on. There's communities of players, and we love those communities and will continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do." So I just want to highlight this part. Some people thought when Phil Spencer said that they have legacy on other platforms that he was talking about, oh, well, Elder Scrolls has a history of releasing on PlayStation, so surely the next Elder Scrolls will. That's not what he meant. That's not what he meant. Do not be confused. He was talking about, like, the Elder Scrolls Online. He was talking about these games, like Fallout 76. That's what he's talking about. Rory, you're saying Cyberpunk is a great game, just released too early. I will tell you this, if Cyberpunk is a great game, I don't doubt that it could be a great game, but I think CD Projekt Red 100% prevented it from ever being a great game. And like you said, it didn't just release too early. They basically lied. They basically lied to their fans, and I think that alone will stop it from ever being a great game. JDTV, you're saying, did you hear that Ubisoft will focus on free-to-play? Yeah, that sucks, man. That sucks. I don't like that. I don't like this free-to-play direction. I think some free-to-play can be great. And, if it depends on how they handle it. It depends on how they handle it, man. We'll have to see. But let me finish this quote. So he continues by saying, "But if you're an Xbox customer, the thing I want you to know, is that this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. That's our goal. That's why we're doing this. That's the root of this partnership that we're building. So how could anyone, and I am speaking to PlayStation fans as well, guys. I'm not just speaking to Xbox fans. This is where I got to give some PlayStation fans some tough love here. How could anybody walk away from that and believe that Starfield is not going to be exclusive to Xbox, Game Pass, and PC, and Game Pass doesn't exist on PlayStation, guys? Even if there is a PlayStation version, at the very least, if you still truly believe in your heart of hearts that, you know, Starfield is going to release on PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation platform because of how large the platform is, at the very least, you got to at least believe it's going to be a timed exclusive for Xbox. At the very least. First on Xbox. Okay? But I'm telling you right now, I walked away from that statement from Phil Spencer. I don't need Jeff Grubb, and I don't know why anybody would need Jeff Grubb or anybody else in this industry to tell them that Starfield's not coming to PlayStation. Yeah, I don't think it's coming to PlayStation, and if it does, it will be down the line after everybody's already been playing it on Game Pass and Xbox and PC. Okay? So I was baffled that, like, people were looking to Jeff Grubb, like, Jeff Grubb confirmed. Like, no, Phil Spencer confirmed, people. I know that Phil's comments were a little bit more vague, but come on, guys. Like, you know, and this is where people were coming at me and you're like, well, if PlayStation fans would just accept, like, dude, you cannot. This is where I'm gonna lay it down. All right? I'm gonna lay it down and I'm gonna hope you guys pick it up. You cannot fault PlayStation fans for being angry or upset at Bethesda's games not coming to PlayStation, because what we witnessed, and I understand Sony's not innocent, Sony does a lot of big third-party deals, but you cannot compare something like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Sony seeking exclusivity for that to what Microsoft did by not only buying the entirety of Bethesda, but essentially confirming that all of their future titles, or at least 99% of them, are gonna stay off of PlayStation. You cannot fault PlayStation fans for being pissed off at that, because that's just straight up like, I mean, guys, if it was the other way around, if Sony bought Bethesda, and yes, they could have bought Bethesda. Let's not, Sony would never buy Bethesda, but they could have, like, they could afford to do so. If they did that, and then they said all of these games are going to be PlayStation exclusives, Xbox fans would have every right in the world to be furious at knowing that all of these games that they do have a legacy on PlayStation as well as Xbox, no longer. Now they're Xbox only. Yeah, you're allowed to be mad. Am I mad? No, I don't care. You know, but I get frustrated when I see people act like, well, you can't be mad. This is what you asked for. It depends on who you're saying that to. For me, you're right. This is what I asked for. I asked for Microsoft to get serious about competing, and it just so happens that the best thing Microsoft could do was, rather than make their own new original IP and excite people, they decided to go buy a bunch of IP that will now sell like crazy. Judah, you're saying, I wish people would stop saying multi-platform games are exclusive. Of course, Starfield will not come to PS5, but it will still be a multi-platform game. Well, yeah, I mean, I just think it's easier to say exclusive. I think what exclusive really means by this point, it just basically means it's excluded here and excluded there. Like, it's not, yeah, it's coming to PC and whatnot, so it technically is multi-platform, but it's like, you know, it's like you're not going to play, like, Days Gone's going to PC, but you're not playing it on your Xbox console, is what I'm trying, you know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to, is that Starfield, you know, if you were to ask me my prediction for Starfield, is it actually going to come to PlayStation? My prediction is absolutely not. Starfield will never release on PlayStation. That's my prediction. Until Sony says, okay, we'll let Game Pass on PlayStation. I don't think you will. Could I be wrong? Of course I could. And guys, this is where things get ridiculous, where right now, the fanboys, it's all about, haha, PlayStation fans can't play Starfield. Suck it, right? Suck that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that does suck. You know, like if you were somebody who was looking forward to that and you don't like the Xbox ecosystem, you don't like Game Pass, you don't play on PC, you don't want to buy an Xbox, yeah, that sucks. There's no way around that. But you know, these guys are setting themselves up for failure if, and this is a huge if, and I don't believe this. Need to make that clear. I do not believe this. Saying, aren't I a fanboy though? Sure, I'm a fanboy. I'm a PlayStation fanboy, but you know, I can't escape that that branding. I can't escape that. That's how people are going to see me. But what I will say is, I try to be very fair. I try to be logical. My bias towards PlayStation will show sometimes because of the amount of good faith and goodwill I have in their games and their ability to deliver great games. And I'm not ashamed of that. Because you know what? Sony hasn't failed me yet. They haven't. So, you know, if that's what people need to run with, that's fine. But I hope that you can listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, and I hope you can understand that they do make sense 95% of the time. At least in my opinion. I could, you know, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit, but I try to be fair, okay? But what I'm trying to say to you is these fanboys are these people who are running like ravenous animals with Starfield exclusivity, Bethesda's exclusivity. Like we're gonna kill PlayStation now. It's like, okay, whoa. Let's pump the brakes a little bit and realize that yes, it seems very clear to me and a lot of others that based off of Phil Spencer's statement that Starfield and most other games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout will not come to PlayStation at all. But could you just imagine if they did? See, they're setting themselves up for failure because what if it is just a timed exclusive? What if they just say, well, we already have a PS5 version, we're just going to release it? I mean, there is a PS5 and PS4 version of Starfield. So at the very least, it would make logical business sense, not fanboy sense, business sense, for Microsoft to at the very least say, okay, let's make it a timed Game Pass and Xbox exclusive, a timed Xbox ecosystem exclusive, and then after it's out for a year, we'll maybe release the PS4 and PS5 version and cash in on that, right? Because at that point, anybody who didn't subscribe to Game Pass or buy an Xbox to play Starfield, you know, they're not going to. So you may as well just put it out there for people who are not willing to move from where they are to go buy it. Right? I'm going to get to these super chats in a second. So I'm not saying it will come to PlayStation because I don't expect it to. But you already know. You already know how the goalposts are going to move. Well, at least we don't have to pay full price for it. I hate to break it to these guys, but I'm going to have to. PlayStation fans do not mind paying for their games. So when you try to make fun of us and laugh at us for buying our games at full price, you look stupid because that is a choice we are making. And if you were to turn around and say, well, you're stupid for wanting to pay full price. Really? I'm stupid for wanting to buy a disc version of a game and own it for hopefully as long as I'm alive? And I can even pass it down to my kids eventually? Or I could sell it? I'm stupid for that? I'm stupid for wanting to have ownership and wanting to have a physical version of something that if I'm not connected to the internet or I don't want to be connected to the internet, I can play? That's stupid. Okay, sure, that's stupid. That's how some people operate. I don't think it's stupid to subscribe to Game Pass if you're looking to play a lot of games at a lower cost up front. I don't think that's stupid. That's not for me. And I don't fully understand why people choose that over buying AAA exclusives that Sony puts out, right? But I don't think it's stupid. Judah, you're saying I wish people... you're saying you wish you... All right, let me read this again. Judah, you're saying you wish people would stop saying multi-platform games are exclusive. I already got that one. I don't know why I'm like reading these same ones. Devilac, you're saying Microsoft buying up all these studios just shows they have no faith in their current studios instead of investing in the talent they have. I mean, Microsoft bought Bethesda for a few reasons. Apparently it was because they were going to be bought by Google or Amazon and Microsoft stopped that. Maybe that's true, but they also bought it because you need to find a better way to compete with Sony's studios. Maybe volume and buying these IP is the best way to do that. Alfonso, you're saying, yeah, but if I remember correctly, wasn't it Phil Spencer who said that playing anywhere is more important than exclusives, and then exclusives don't matter? Yeah, he did kind of say that. I mean, I think his words were twisted just slightly, but he kind of made it clear that he wasn't a big fan of the way things are. But Sony's not going to budge, and that's going to force Microsoft to make a decision, a tough decision potentially, on what they do with their games. The Mark Shark. You know what would be funny if all Bethesda games start coming out and PlayStation keeps winning Game of the Year year after year? Well, dude, that's why I've been trying to say, and I can't see this. Hold on. I hope this doesn't disappear. I can't see this last person. Nick, you're saying Xbox needs Game Pass to hold people over because their games aren't coming for the next 3 to 4 years. By that time, they would have paid $500 for a sub. Exactly, dude. That's why I get Game Pass. The entry fee into Game Pass is cheap, but to pay for it over time, it adds up. It adds up. And you will never own any of those games. And maybe people are okay with that. I'm just speaking for me. I'm not okay with that. I don't want to pay $120 to $180 a year to never own a game. And if I stay subscribed for years, I'll never own any of those games. Games I care about, I like to own because I usually, at some point in time, I like to go back to them. Not all of them. There are certainly games I paid full price for, disc versions that I have not played since. But I'm also somebody who likes collecting. So, it is what it is. Some people prefer that, but yeah, we need to remove this conversation that Game Pass is free. It's not. Does it pay for itself? That's dependent upon how you use Game Pass. If you use it constantly and you're constantly playing games on it, then yes, it does pay for itself. Just like if I buy a game at $70 like Returnal, if I put 50 to 60 solid hours into Returnal and I enjoyed all of those hours, it paid for itself, in my opinion. It was worth it. Christopher, you're saying, I feel like 90% of Xbox exclusives are timed. It's like they can only afford to buy studios instead of full exclusivity or so-called exclusives. Yeah, dude, I thought that was weird too. Like, what's up with Stalker 2? And do you guys remember? I got to talk about this because to me, it just made me chuckle a little bit. You ready? You remember how at the launch of the Xbox Series X and the PS5, one of the things I was going in hard with, because I had to, was the fact that Sony had a solid, not just they had a solid launch lineup. The worst argument you could make for Sony's launch lineup is a lot of these games are on PS4. Fine. But putting that aside, these are quality games and they're all new and they're all launching with the console. Astrobot alone, one of the best, I'm telling you, Astrobot is one of the best PS5 exclusives out right now. I know it's one of the only ones, but it's gonna stand the test of time. It's a great game, packed in for free with the PS5. Microsoft didn't have anything even close to that, and that's like not even a AAA game. But I remember I went in hard on Microsoft because I'm like, where's their launch lineup? Where are their games that are going to showcase the power of this console that they've been bragging about for over a year now? There was none. You know what they had? They had the Falconeer. Does anybody know what this game is? No offense to the game. I'm not trying to talk crap on the game itself, but no one knows what this game is. Maybe some of you do. It's coming to PlayStation in June. This was one of the games that the Xbox fanboys held on to and pumped up, like Falconeer. This was a smaller indie game, not even a year exclusive. I don't know, man. iSiler saying the majority of games on Game Pass have been out for years already. Most people that wanted to play those games already did, so I don't get the push for it. Yeah, there's that aspect to it too, man. I mean, if you're subscribing to Game Pass to get new Microsoft games that drop day one, that's definitely valid and good and a great value, but when are those games dropping? We got Halo. Maybe Starfield will come this year. That would be a good reason, but we're not there yet. I'm not, you do bring up a good point that these games are older, man. They have been out. And if you're playing them for the first time, they are new to you, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We have, okay, Kapapa, you're saying Starfield is getting too much hype for its own good, so much pressure for the devs, likely from top management too. I mean, yeah, dude, Starfield, the first time we see Starfield, it's either going to make or break that game. I'm telling you, man, it's People are not going to be okay with something that looks okay. They're not going to be okay with something that looks mediocre for sure. They're just not. If Halo Infinite taught us anything, it's that we are moving into next gen now, people. Our expectations are higher. They just are. Sony seems to be aware of this. So do their developers. That's why they're working really hard with games like Ratchet and Clank and Horizon to really make sure, like, yeah, the expectation is high here. We need to do our best, absolute best. And I'm not saying that Bethesda isn't. I'm not saying that the developers working on Starfield aren't. I'm just saying that they have more pressure because they need to deliver. Like, it's a need. It's not a desire or a want at this point. It's a need. Xbox needs something of very, not just quality, like very high quality. They need that killer app, that must-have game to play, whether it's on Game Pass or Xbox or anywhere else. They need that. Sony doesn't need that because Sony's been delivering that. Sony could afford to have a blunder and they would be okay. You know, but they're still going strong, man. They're still going strong. They got like a good streak going. iSally, you're saying you can't keep those games on Game Pass once they expire, but PS Plus, if you have it forever if you're a member. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, like with Game Pass, we also have to, I mean, you can't, it's difficult to compare Game Pass to PS Plus, but it is true that there is a certain value with PS Plus where as long as you're subscribed, you have all these games. My mustache, I got to trim this thing, man. It's like itching my nose and stuff from talking. I'm not picking my nose. I know that's what it looks like, but it's the stash, man. It's the stash. What was I just saying? Oh, yeah. So with PS Plus, ADHD here. With PS Plus, there is something to be said about the value of as long as you're a member, you are paying like $60 a year for that. But that library of games, if you've been a member for years, is massive and they never go away. They never go away. There is something to be said for that, and no one talks about it. And you know why? Because Sony isn't marketing that. Microsoft is marketing Game Pass like crazy to grow it and to make up for what they don't have right now, which is new games. They're marketing backwards compatibility, FPS boost, and Game Pass because they don't have any new games. And I get that. It's smart. I don't fault them for that, but people need to be aware that there's value on both sides here. Primal Plasma, you're saying in the 80s when Street Fighter 2 came out in the arcade, some game players spent $70 worth of quarters on it for just a few hours. I know, dude. Gaming is an expensive hobby. It always has been and always will be, especially if you want quality. Judah, you're saying, yes, we do have Halo Day 1 Game Pass, whenever that is, but isn't Halo multiplayer also free to play anyway? Yeah, it is. So that's a smart move, in my opinion, by Microsoft, but I don't know what that means for the quality. I think it'll be high. I mean, it has to be high quality. Microsoft, of course, Halo's going to attempt to be high quality, right? Brett, you're saying PlayStation devs compete with each other, we win. They do. You're damn right. Dude, that is what I would 100%. Dude, Sony's devs are not trying to compete with Microsoft's devs because if they were, they would lower their bar. They would lower the bar. Instead, they're competing with each other, which means they have to continue to raise the bar. It adds pressure, but that's how I've said it time and time again. I will always say this, and maybe I should make this a piece of merch, like that's where greatness comes from, or that's how you achieve greatness. It just is. You constantly raise the bar. This isn't good enough. We can do better, even if it's just by an inch. You know, I am not I believe in trying to be a good person and give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also a believer in we always got to try to be better. As cliche and cheesy as that sounds, because you have to. You cannot always be easy on people. You cannot always feel sorry for yourself or for others, because then complacency makes its way in. And when you get complacent, you're going downhill at that point for anything in life. So if you want to be great at something, you got to be willing to be hard on yourself as well as hard on others. There's a limit to that, obviously, and there are lines it's a balance, as I've always said, but this is how it happens. Jerry, you're saying, remember when all these Xbots were saying that they don't need exclusives, they have Cyberpunk? Pepperidge Farms remembers. Yeah, I do remember, man. I mean, there was always talk about Cyberpunk going to Game Pass. It should have went in the Game Pass, dude. Cyberpunk, with the state that game released in on Xbox and PlayStation, it was lower than anything I've really seen in recent memory than, releasing in the Game Pass. It wasn't good, dude. just going to be honest, man. And I don't think that this is a crazy statement. Cyberpunk just should have been early access. Period. End of discussion. Should have been an early access game. If they wanted to charge full price, just make people aware you're paying full price for early access. So, guys, really quick, we're going to continue talking about all of these. We have a lot more stuff to go through here. So do me a big favor. We have over 1,100 people here watching, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out here with me. Do me a big favor. Hit that like button. We're at 400 and something likes. I can't see it right now. But let's see if we can get to 500, 600, 700 likes. We can easily do it if everybody contributes and just takes a moment to press that like button. Really helps the podcast more than you know. So, yeah, let's... the thing is, too, is like, I understand, and I just want to make this statement real quick before we go any further. I know that I'm independent here, right? And I don't talk to people, like, I don't bring people on to actively disagree with me, but I want to just make it known that I do listen to other people, and I read what other people have to say. Like, I make sure to take a lot of time out of my life here to listen to the other side, to listen to different perspectives, and to, match them up against mine. And I try to let logic and, I'm always going to be a little bit biased, but I always try to let logic more than anything, speak. And there are times where I make illogical statements and people call me out on it. I'm like, you know what? That you're right. But that's what I try to do anymore when it comes to this stuff. And it's exactly why when all this doom and gloom crap with PlayStation over the past couple months was happening, I'm just like, you're not gonna get, like, if you're coming to my channel expecting me to be like, uh-oh, guys, what do we do now? Like, no, like, PlayStation is doing amazingly. Like, objectively, factually, logically, they're perfectly fine. If you're listening to the internet bubble of outrage, then you're gonna assume PlayStation's dying. And it's breathing its last breath, but it's extremely healthy. And you know why? That's because the market speaks much louder than the internet bubbles ever will. And that's a good thing because the market's speaking with its wallet, with its money. And it's letting Sony know, like, we accept this and we're okay with this and we like this. But it will also, just like it did with Destruction All-Stars, let you know, we don't accept this. But internet outrage, I will admit, it did make Sony turn around and be like, we'll keep the PS3 store open. How many people are talking about PS3 anymore now? No one. Literally no one is. No one's talking about it. True Witty, you're saying, how are Xbots complaining about prices? I saw the picture of this guy with over 50 Xbox controllers on a sofa, so why is buying games bad, but a controller good? Well, dude, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, we need to inject more logic into these arguments, right? Like, I'm not saying, like, I will never say Game Pass is a bad deal. The only time I would ever say Game Pass is a bad deal is dependent upon how you're utilizing your subscription to Game Pass. If you're somebody who's subscribed and you play like one game every couple of months from Game Pass, I'm going to tell you, you're probably... it's probably not a good deal for you, man. Like, you should probably just buy that game because it'll always be there. And, if that's the only game you're playing, that's probably what you should do because eventually it may even leave Game Pass, right? That's when I would say maybe it's not a good value. Just like with PlayStation Plus, it's like PlayStation Plus is a great value, in my opinion, if you're utilizing the subscription. If you're playing online and you're at least playing a few, even just a few, PS Plus games a year, you're getting a tremendous value there. You really are. But especially if you're somebody who's playing a lot of these games. And even if you're somebody who doesn't play many PS Plus games, just knowing that every single month there could be something that's right up your alley or something that you maybe want to try, that's, you're going to get something from that. It's about logic, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, we have to try to be a little bit more intelligent with the arguments we're going to make if we're going to attempt to make those arguments. And I'm not saying that I am not human. I am human, obviously. Like, I will make illogical decisions and say illogical things, but I expect people to, to let me know, to make sense. If you're going to dismantle what I'm saying, please make sense. That's all I'm saying. Sir Speaks a Lot. What do you think the majority genre is for those 25 games? I want to say that the majority of those 25 PlayStation exclusives that are in development are going to be like more narrative-driven single-player games. But I do think that there will actually be more of those games will be in different genres that we aren't expecting. But I mean, I would assume that a good chunk of those 25, well, to be honest, I don't know, man. Apparently, half of those 25 games that are in development are new IP. And with new IP comes a pretty decent chance that it might be a different genre you weren't expecting. So it's hard to say, dude. It's a shot in the dark. Siler18, you're saying the PS collection has the best games ever made. Sony should expand on that. And again, you keep those forever. Yeah, totally. Didn't even mention the PS Plus collection if you're on PS5. You're right. You're right. The same arguments that are applicable to Game Pass and backwards compatibility and all these things that Xbox is doing so amazingly, you can make those exact same arguments to the T with the PlayStation Plus collection in terms of value. But again, it's down to marketing. Sony's not marketing PS Plus collection because it's not the priority for them like it is for Microsoft. And they don't need to, because you know what Sony's busy spending their marketing budget on? New games. The thing that, matters most to people buying a new console. So let me just wrap this up real quick so we can move on to the next topic. And this was a very long-winded, I mean, we go off the rails here. It just happens, But let me just tell you, just to wrap this up, put it all together. Starfield being confirmed by Jeff Grubb to be exclusive. Okay. I believe him. He's saying it very definitively, and he's clearly putting his reputation on the line by doing so. So I'm going to assume that Phil Spencer called him and said, yes, Jeff Grubb, you can confirm that Starfield is exclusive. I'm going to have to assume that, because if not, if Starfield is revealed and it's still coming to PlayStation, that dude's done. He's out. Period. He's making a definitive statement. So yeah, we'll see. I do believe him. But in my opinion, it was always obvious that Starfield would not come to PlayStation based off of what Phil Spencer said. My opinion is the expectation for Starfield is whether people want to acknowledge it or not, it's inherently through the roof. And if we see Starfield this E3, it's going to be in the exact same position that Halo Infinite was in last. I know it wasn't E3, but at Microsoft's last event. And so it's going to have to deliver. I will say, Microsoft could, I mentioned that we were going to talk about events. Let me tell you, if Microsoft can deliver and turn around what they did with Halo Infinite, if they can do that, and then also have a great showing with Starfield, they could hit a home run this year. They could. I know that we don't want to hear that because it's like we're PlayStation and we want to laugh at Microsoft. But actually, I'd argue a lot of us want to see that. A lot of us want to hear that because we want to see that. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for Microsoft to really bring the heat to Sony. And Microsoft could have a home run, but they have to do it right. And that's where things always get a little bit murky. Can they do it? I don't know. Saying JT, you're saying, I asked my grandma what she was watching on her phone. She said MBG's new vid. She asked if I've seen it yet. I said no. She proceeded to suplex me. I have now seen your newest vid. Okay, saying JT, it sounds like, you know what? I'm not an advocate for violence, and I think that your grandmother was being needlessly violent with you, but she's doing it for a good cause. I can't argue that. I mean, if your grandmother's going to suplex you, and the reason why she's suplexing you is because she's you got to watch MBG, man. Did you see his latest video? And your answer is no, then look, you don't have to go around suplexing people who are not watching my latest vids, but I'm just saying your grandmother's pretty cool. I hope you're okay though, man. Thank you for that. Your grandmother knows quality. Yeah. So maybe we'll make that a piece of merch, grandma suplexing. I don't know. Anyway, guys, we're going to move on to the next topic, and these topics are only going to get better because, as I said, it wasn't the most exciting week in terms of official news, but boy, was there a lot of drama. There was a lot of garbage that seemingly it just came out of nowhere this week. I can't say that that's something new or all that surprising, but let's see here. All right, so let me go to my topics list and see what's next. JD you're saying, I'm enjoying my PS5, but credit where credit is due. Xbox's FPS boost sounds like it's amazing. I love Battlefield, and Battlefield 5 runs at 120 FPS. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. I don't talk about it because I don't use it, and it's like I'm not going to suddenly go buy a Series X, or now with my new gaming PC, I'm not going to boot up the Xbox app and be like, I'm going to play these games in FPS boost. But yeah, it's a great thing they're doing. And I think to speak for that for a second before we move on to the next topic, I think it's a necessary thing for Xbox to be doing, because it's really one of the only things they have. And, they're doing good work with that. And, you could say, well, maybe Sony needs to do more. But so here's my gripe. This is my only gripe. There are conversations that take place, and I say conversations when really they're just kind of like back and forth bickering about, Sony and Microsoft and 120 FPS. I'm going to have to level with you guys. I've never played a game at 120 FPS, nor do I ever plan to play a game at 120 FPS until it becomes the standard or the new standard. And I say this because once I went from 30 frames to 60, like permanently, like I play the majority of my games at 60, I could not go back. I cannot go back to 30. It's too difficult. Maybe I could if I adjust to it, but I've just gotten too used to 60. I do not want to risk the same thing happening from going from 60 to 120. So when I see a game, I'm just speaking for me. I don't even think I have a screen that can, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I have any screens that can run a game at 120 frames. But when I hear a game on Xbox, what was it, Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect remaster trilogy, that game can run at 120 FPS on the Xbox, but there's no 120 FPS option on the PS5. I'm only speaking for me. I couldn't care less. I just couldn't. I would never play a game at a much lower resolution at 120. I just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. I mean, I want whatever the highest resolution is you can give me at 60. 60 is fine for me. I love 60. I feel no desire to go above that. I'm not saying that means Sony shouldn't try to pursue it further, but we need to understand this as well. I do not have the data in front of me to say this with, any type of, I don't know exactly, but if I had to assume, I'm going to say a very, very, very small percentage of people care. And I'm talking about console gamers. I'm not talking about PC. On PC, I'm sure there's a lot more people who care about 120 FPS. But on console, I'm going to say there's very, very few people, probably 1% or less, that actually care about their console running a game at 120 frames. Just being, just an assumption. So I don't care about it. Jerry, you're saying, seriously, how does Sony think a normal person is going to find time to play all these exclusives? They need to take the Microsoft approach, one game every 4 to 5 years. Yeah, dude, I will agree with you, Jerry. I'm starting to feel the heat now, man. I got a hair stuck to me here. I'm starting to feel the heat. I got hooked, no, maybe pun intended, with Dead by Daylight. And hold on, I'm trying to see what Sorry, I'm just reading a little bit of the chat here, guys. You're saying 120 FPS turns your new console into a base model PS4 visually. Huh. But, I got hooked on Dead by Daylight, and then I felt the need to platinum that. Now I'm starting to really get deep into Returnal, where I'm like, I'm going to try to master this game now. I've Resident Evil Village, which I haven't even booted up yet. I have it. I got to play it. There's more games coming. I'm not going to be able to finish all this before Ratchet drops. Yeah, and then who knows, dude, we got Kenna Bridge of Spirits coming out in August, and I'm sure we got a bunch of other stuff. So the backlog is it's building up already. But let's move on to the next topic. Sony came out last week and completely shut down and shut up, honestly, a lot of these so-called journalists who were clearly trying to slander PlayStation and make it sound like we won't be getting a lot of games, or nearly enough, and we certainly won't be getting new IP. Herman Hulst came out and basically suplexed all of these people by confirming that They have more than 25 exclusives in the works currently, and half of them are new IP. Okay? Now, look, am I being a bit overly dramatic? Maybe a tad bit. But I will tell you that, I'm going to talk to the audience here for a moment, and you let me know, was it not just kind of ridiculous to see just how extra and overly dramatic people were becoming and acting towards the PlayStation brand in the past few months? And then on top of that, you have, again, the gaming journalists and the media coming out here and just trying to pour as much fuel on the fire as they can. I mean, I'm not saying that there were not valid criticisms towards PlayStation or that, should have been thrown towards PlayStation's way this year so far, because there certainly were. But my God, it got out of hand. I had fun though. I'm not going to lie. I was loving all these articles that were being report. I didn't even get to all of them that I was reacting to and just literally meticulously dismantling and disassembling them. It was fun, because I was waiting to find an opinion article from a journalist that actually made sense and was legitimate, And it's like, again, I was there, man. I did the same thing with Xbox in 2019. I was overblowing things because it got views, it got clicks, but I realized that, it wasn't going to be like that forever. And I also kind of realized that at some point it goes from being, being constructive criticism to just being, I'm berating something and I'm making fun of something and I'm only hurting something. I'm not helping it in any way. You see what I'm saying? And when I realized that, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna, Also, I want it to be known, I went in with the whole Halo Infinite Craig thing, and I don't regret that. And I don't apologize for that. That was fun. Even Microsoft themselves was going in with the Halo Craig thing. Okay? It was all in the name of fun, but also in the name of please do better next time. Like, please fix this. Just want that to be known, because I'm not saying that I have not taken shots at Xbox myself. I'm just pointing this out because it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it was just really bizarre to me. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the 25 AAA exclusives because we've talked about this at length, and there are other topics I do want to get to before, this podcast becomes way too long. But I got to tell you, man. It was glorious. And dude, that's why I titled this podcast this way. Sony pushes back. PlayStation pushes back. I predicted on a previous podcast that the only thing Sony would have to do is exactly what Jim Ryan said that they were going to do. Let the games do the talking for them. And they did before they offered their proper response. They wanted to be sure to let Returnal do some talking, to let Ratchet & Clank do some talking. But for once, Sony stepped in, man, and they're like, now we need to say a couple things. And I loved it, dude. I loved it because they weren't overly aggressive. There's no need to be. They're professional. They're pushing back. They're suplexing, but they're doing it in a professional manner. They're professionally suplexing all of these clowns, and I love to see it because you know what? Sony comes out, hey, 6-month check-in on the PS5. How's it doing? It's doing great. Are people buying PS5 games? Hell yeah, they are. 11% more than PS4. And let me tell you, you know how many games the PS4 is selling? A lot of games. So more people are buying more PS5 games. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, right? People buying their games. They come out here, 6-month PS5 check-in. Well, what about what about developers? Surely there's some negative feedback based off of everything we've been hearing, right? Mark Cerny steps in, calm, cool, collected as ever. Let me tell you what developers are saying about the PS5. They're not really saying much because they're busy making games for it. They're not running into any issues. But he also has to add on, and I was also pleasantly surprised to see just how quickly developers were able to implement features such as ray tracing. Mark Cerny himself says, I expected something like ray tracing to be implemented 2-3 years down the line. And look at where we are right now. So shutting that down, any negative conversation about, oh, devs this with the PS5, dude, don't you have to go wait for your tools or something like that for the Xbox tools? Isn't that what you should be doing? Don't worry about PlayStation 5. Don't worry about, I can assure you, as somebody who owns a PS5 and is buying games and playing them, dude, it's doing just fine, And maybe you could say the same thing about the Series X, but I'm not so sure. I'm still waiting to be blown away by some major difference. Now, some people are like, oh, Mass Effect Andromeda. It's running a little bit better and has actually faster load times, which is weird to me on the Series X version. It's because Sony, look, anytime a game is utilizing any type of backwards compatibility, Xbox is going to have the advantage. And Microsoft made sure of that. But when it comes to new games, I'm sorry, man. I don't think anything is really coming close to what Sony's been putting out lately and will be putting out with Ratchet. JDTV, you're saying the difference between 60 and 120 FPS isn't massive like 30 and 60 FPS, but it's nice to have. I tried it, and it's amazing for multiplayer shooters. Yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'm going to have to try it, and who knows? Maybe I'll try and be like, whoa, Sony, what are you doing? You gotta do this more. I would have to experience it firsthand. I do believe it. It's just, I'm afraid. I'm literally afraid if I experience 120 frames per second, I'm not going to want to go back. Sir Speaks like saying, MBG, please stop this attack. They are already dead. You don't have to continue spitting facts. Think of the universe, man. Don't destroy it all. Dude, I'm not even trying. That's the thing, man. I'm not even trying, dude. Christopher, you're saying, let's show MBG our support, guys. We have over 1,000 people watching and less than 600 likes. He deserves to know we appreciate his time and effort. Well, I appreciate that, man. You didn't have to super chat that, but I really appreciate that gesture. And so, yeah, guys, if you could hit that like button, we can do it. We can easily get 1,000 likes. But let's keep this train rolling, right? So Mark Cerny, we have Jim Ryan stepping in, making it clear, hey, all the negative Nancys out there, I assume that's the terminology Jim Ryan would use, right? All the people out there talking trash about us wanting to increase the price of our games because of the increasing price of game development. And obviously, let's not mince words here. Like I said, come on, guys. Sony wants to increase the price of their games so they can make more profit. They want to make more money. They want to continue to grow the profit and the PlayStation brand. And as somebody who wants to see the PlayStation brand continue to succeed, I'm not really against that. I'm not against developers making more money off of the quality being even higher and higher. I'm not against that. So Jim Ryan steps in and he says, yep, turns out people are buying a lot of games. Lots of PlayStation 5 games. Okay? So that's good news. We have Mark Cerny stepping in. They each got to take their turn suplexing these dudes. Mark Cerny steps in, letting everybody know that development on the PS5 is going great. There's pretty much no pushback, and he's surprised at how quickly developers are utilizing the features. It's always nice to hear from Mr. Cerny. Then we have Herman Hulst coming in with, in my opinion, the biggest suplex, just annihilating. You talk about me destroying the universe, dude. Herman Hulst comes in, and he's just like, yeah. So there's been some conversation lately about, we're not going to make enough games. We're only going to play it safe. You got people like Jason Schreier. Come on, guys. I'm not that much against Jason Schreier because the truth is, I do appreciate some of the reporting he does, but what I don't appreciate is that he's no different from this BS, this negative clickbait BS where it's you know what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. So please stop pretending that you don't. And what he was doing was he wanted to capitalize on the fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding PlayStation. Is it a dumb thing to do? Well, no, it's not. It makes sense. You want clicks, you want attention, boom. He struck at the right time. I don't fault him for that. I'm just saying, just admit it. Because I watched a podcast he was on, Mid-Max, where he tried to clarify everything. He's like, oh, well, I never tried to imply or say that Sony wasn't going to do new IP. It's dude, the implications were all there, clear as day. Why do you think the article headlines were Sony's playing it safe? We're all scared. Oh no, it's just going to be God of War and Horizon Forever and Uncharted. And I'm like, well, that actually doesn't sound that bad, but you're going to tell me that they're not going to do anything new? Come on, it sounded ridiculous to the point where guys, like, are we talking about the same game publisher that, published all these PS4 exclusives last gen? So, look, Herman Hulst comes out and he shuts this down completely. He's just like, listen, we got over 25 exclusive PlayStation games in development, not just from their first party studios, obviously, but I have no doubt that the highest quality ones will come from Sony's first party, but from their partners as well. Their partners now fall under the PlayStation Studios moniker. We know that Sony wants to continue growing their partnerships. And in my opinion, the killing blow came in when he says, oh, and over half of them are new IP. Half of them are new IP. He does confirm that they're big, some of them are bigger games, some of them are smaller, some of them are medium. That's to be expected. The same can be said, if Microsoft came out and said, oh, we have 40 plus games in development, they haven't, but if they did, you could easily assume that, okay, a decent chunk of them will probably be smaller, medium-sized games. That's to be expected. They're not all going to be AAA. But I have a feeling out of those 25, more of them than not are going to be AAA. Siler is saying, as an owner of both consoles, I got Mass Effect on Xbox for the 120 FPS. If they give me a reason, I'll get something on that platform. It's not a huge difference, but it's way more preferable than ray tracing. Yeah, so that's where I could see the 120 FPS really looking way more appealing. Again, I don't try it out of fear. Like, I don't want to experience 120 FPS out of fear that I don't want to ruin 60. Like, me and 60 frames per second have a really good thing going right now. Like, we have a really good thing going, and I don't want to ruin that. But I will admit, dude, ray tracing is nice, but I start to find that if I hear a game's going to be, higher frame rate without ray tracing, I'm okay with that. This game, in order to hit a locked 60, it can't have ray tracing. I'm okay with that. I get more excited hearing about DualSense support than I do ray tracing. Maybe that's just because it's early on, and ray tracing is very impressive, but I'm just finding myself less excited about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's going to be that big game changer like it was implied to be at some point. You know what I mean? And we have B. Flesher. You're saying, MBG, for someone who cares so much about the next-gen experience, you have to trust me on this one. 120 Hz is the most next-gen feature on new consoles. Dude, you're scaring me even more, bro. Like, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying, like, I don't want that. Because if that's true, if I experience 120 Hz and I'm like, whoa, like, this is incredible, I don't want to go back. I won't want to go back. I will have disdain and resentment towards 60 FPS games. And knowing that the overwhelming majority of games will not run at 120. Again, I don't even think I have a screen that can run at 120. I'm not saying 120 isn't good. I'm just saying I don't know that it would be good for me. That's all I'm trying to say. Space Gambler Jr. is saying, hey, MBG, great stream. Have you heard of the Days Gone 2 petition? Well, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. I have. Where's that sitting at now, guys? Please tell me, because the last time I checked, it was at like 80,000 signatures or something like that, or 100,000. Where's that at now? I don't think anything's going to come of it, but I know about it. So let me know in the chat. Saying at 112,000. That's crazy. Unfortunately, I'm gonna tell you right now, nothing's gonna come of that, man. I mean, it's a great petition and it's a great gesture, but one of those 25 games that Herman Hulst mentioned, I have no doubt, is Sony Ben's new IP. And as much as I wanted to see Days Gone 2 on the PS5, I mean, it would be amazing. I'm just as excited to see what they're going to do because they're going to have a fresh start. The only downside is the foundation of everything that they created with Days Gone 2 is now going to have to be, well, it might not have to be completely erased. I mean, they have the experience, and I'm sure that maybe they could use some assets for sure, definitely, in some code, but the only downside is it's going to take a long time to find out what Sony Ben's doing next. I thought that if Days Gone 2 was a real thing and it was happening, we could probably hear about it maybe sometime this year. Maybe we start hearing about it next year and release in like 2022, maybe 2023. But I think it's going to be a little bit further out now that it's a new IP. So very much looking forward to that. But just to kind of finish off this topic before we move on to the next one. So Herman Hulst comes in, suplexes everybody, and is like, "Look, we're making a lot of games. We got a lot of games in development. Don't worry about it, okay?" Like, the thing is, people need to understand when he said that they have over 25 exclusives currently in development, that number is going to grow dramatically over the course of this generation. He's not saying that over the course of this generation you can expect to get over 25 exclusives. No, that's what they have locked in right now. That's not counting the things that are still on the table, still, in the process of being negotiated or thought out. It's going to grow tremendously. And I think it's going to need to. There's no doubt that Microsoft will have the volume. Microsoft will pump out a large quantity of games once they get on a roll. There's no doubt about that. The quality of those games, that I have doubts about. But Sony will need to leverage their market leadership, and they are. Sony is leveraging their position in the market to encourage and bring in more partnerships and strengthen those partnerships, and that's going to play a vital role throughout this generation for PlayStation. Now, whether or not Sony plans to buy more studios, I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard for me to talk about that anymore because I truly have no idea what Sony's intent is when it comes to purchasing new studios. We're going to have to wait and see about that one. JDTV, you're saying, do you think that Battlefield 6 will miss some features like ray tracing or 120 FPS support due to also bringing the game to old-gen consoles? Actually, no. I think that those are two things that they could afford to add on to Battlefield 6 because of that. Like, I think the chances of Battlefield 6 being a 120 FPS game actually diminishes if it's next-gen only, because I don't think that's going to be a priority. Instead, they're going to put more of the resources that each console offers into better looking ray tracing, into just better, graphical fidelity, just better particle effects and all this stuff, right? So I think the fact that it's inherently going, like, the visual side of the game is inherently, to some extent, and not even just the visual side, but just the scope of the game to some extent will be held back by the older consoles. I think that will make it easier to be like, well, we have all this overhead on this console. Like, we have enough overhead to make this game run at 120 frames on the Series X and PS5. We have more overhead or just enough to do that, but we don't have enough overhead to dramatically improve like enemy AI or something like that. You know what I mean? Or just have this many things going on the screen, if that makes sense. That's my assumption anyway. I'm not the most, technically versed person, but I think that actually, things like ray tracing and a higher frame rate, those are features that I think are more realistically, they could be achieved more realistically and more easily potentially than the other more complicated stuff. The more complicated stuff, I think with these, like when a game goes next gen only, right? Like when a game goes next gen only, I think the more complicated stuff that can be achieved through the power of these consoles and not on the PS4 and Xbox One is stuff like enemy AI, world density, just physics potentially, stuff like this, that like all of that stuff I just listed is going to be bound to, it's going to be bound to those older consoles. Things like ray tracing and frame and FPS, those things are also bound to the old consoles. But I think that those are just the things that, as I said, it's easier to kind of leverage the excess overhead you'll have. So, when EA and I think the executives at EA, they're like talking up the next gen versions of these games, are saying we're going to take full advantage of these consoles. You're not taking full advantage of them. End of discussion. That's off the table. Okay, if you're tethering the PS5 to the PS4, if you're tethering the Series X to the Xbox One, you are far from fully leveraging these consoles. So when they say we're taking full advantage of it, what they really mean is they're going to try to, they're going to try to increase the resolutions. They're going to increase the ray tracing if possible and make it prettier. They're going to increase the frames, stuff like that, but it can only go so far. Somebody's asking me if I'm smoking crack. I'm not. Does it seem like I am? Am I saying something absurd and crazy right now? I could be completely wrong about what I'm saying, but based off of my understanding, that's how it works. So, Anyway, all right, let's seeing the reaction to the chat sometimes is just great. It's great. You're saying it's the camera. What's the camera doing? Is it making me look real bad? I don't know. All right, guys, we are going to move on to the next topic though, and I think we're going to have some fun with the next topic. So, stay tuned in. Hit that like button, guys. Come on. We can do better than this. We can do it. Hit that like button. I'm refusing to move on to the next topic until we have 800 likes. I'm kidding. But we could definitely oh, you're saying that the camera looks smoky. Okay. Yeah, that's like a bunch of noise that's coming from the camera, and I don't know why. Again, I'm gonna have to upgrade my camera. So, hit that like button, guys. I refuse to move on to the next topic until we get a minimum of 800 likes. Obviously, I'm kidding. We're gonna move on, but we have Sir Speaks a Lot. You're saying topic is feet. Like for feet, please, for the Lord. One of these days, Sir Speaks a Lot. I'm gonna you give me a $500. No, not $500. You give me a $200 super chat. You're not gonna see my feet, but I have my son. He's a baby still, so he's got like those cute baby feet. I could put them on camera for a little bit. It's gonna cost you though. It's gonna. I'm mostly kidding here, by the way. But yeah, me and my wife were joking around about that. Saying he is a weirdo. Did you change your GPU, MBG? Oh yeah, dude, I got a new PC and everything. I talked about it at the beginning of the podcast. So, saying, bro, MBG, get ready for a slew of 30 FPS games from Sony in the future because they are going to be pushing CPU, GPU, and SSD in a few years. I don't know, man. I mean, I think Ratchet and Clank, that's what we're going to talk about next, actually. Okay? This is the next topic. That really, people are freaking out about me saying, I'm going to show my son's feet. Guys, it's a joke, okay? First of all, baby feet are cute, all right? I don't know how many people here are parents, but I'll tell you, it's just the cutest thing. And, I'm just saying, there's this constant joke about the feet on the channel, so chill. It's a damn joke. People take things too seriously these days, man. I'll tell you. Dave, you're saying baby feet are adorable. Dude, they are. What is my son's name? Not going to reveal that. But yeah, all right. Dude loves next-gen graphics and rocks the two... You say the dude loves next-gen graphics and rocks the 240p webcam. Dude, this webcam's supposed to be halfway decent. It's supposed to be just a solid 1080p webcam. Apparently it's just low quality. I'm going to have to buy another one. I really am. So, his name is Kratos. All right, guys. All right. We're going to move on because I still have some topics we have to discuss, and we're hitting that 2-hour mark. So let's keep it rolling here. You're saying it's the lighting? I hope, dude, I have natural light right now, though. So I don't get it. Like, my windows are open. I just have natural light coming in. I have a light ring. Maybe I could use that. I don't think that would change the quality of the image, though, very much. It would brighten it, but I don't think it would change the quality of the image. So, we'll see. This is like a no-name brand webcam I have right now. So I'm inclined to believe that the image quality right now is... You're saying change the resolution output of your camera. Yeah, maybe I have it on the wrong resolution. I could look into that when I'm done. But it's lacking contrast. All right, well, just like I said, deal with it for right now, all right? It'll get better. Saying it looks better now, I didn't even do anything. All right, next topic. You ready? A lot of PlayStation fans are feeling annoyed at the media and at certain influencers for pushing this narrative that You know what? I don't know. Yeah, that the PS5 doesn't have enough games, or it's just not really a console worth trying to invest in because of this. You know, we have Justin Davis of IGN saying some of the most ridiculous things I've heard about the next gen consoles, and I'm just like, what is going on? What is going on here with what this man is saying? And you know, a lot of people weren't happy with it. And then we also have Review Tech USA, which, you know, I made a dedicated video on this, which I don't normally do, but it's like, I mean, dude, like, you have almost 1 million subs, man, and I don't believe in condemning people that actually seem like they are either sorry for what they did, or they really want to seek redemption, or they want to turn things around. And I'm not saying Rich of Review Tech isn't that, but I mean, I listened to his original video and I'm just like, dude, stop. You know what you are doing. It's exactly what I talked about a little bit earlier. People are not as stupid as they want to make themselves sound. I understand we all sometimes want to plead ignorance, but come on, it's usually not too difficult to figure out whether somebody's truly ignorant to what they've done or what they were doing. And I'm sorry, but like, I read that article, okay? I read the article that he cited. This was an article from, what was the website? PlayStation something. It was a PlayStation website. It's one that I don't normally go to. Pure PlayStation, I think it was. And this article was from August of 2020. And I'm just like, dude, we're out here feeling hyped for Ratchet & Clank. The game looks incredible. And we have people who are starting to push a narrative that simply doesn't exist. They're making the narrative up, and then they're pleading ignorance. And I'm like, how would you like it if I made a video titled, some real disappointing news about Starfield, right? Or about Halo Infinite. And it's essentially, you know, me referring to an article from sometime in 2020 that talks about how bad the game looked graphically. And I said, well, guys, I read this article and I don't know. This article's telling me the game looked bad graphically and it's just not good. It's not next gen. So I guess it's in trouble. It's disappointing. We've already been there. Okay? Like, and the worst part about that is that's actually something that was legitimate and real and happened. Like, everybody saw it with their own two eyes. What's happening here is, you know, the article confirmed that there will be a performance mode in Ratchet & Clank, just like Demon's Souls, just like Spider-Man Miles Morales, which, guys, anybody here right now listening to me, I'm sure at least some of you have a PS5. I'm certain some of you have played Spider-Man Miles Morales and Demon's Souls. You can all back me up when I say those games looked incredible in their performance modes. Like, visual quality was incredible. Even at 60 FPS, I could barely tell the difference between native 4K and the resolution they were running at. Even Returnal, a game that's upscaled to 4K from 1080p, looks really good. But specifically, Spider-Man and Demon's Souls looked incredible. Siler saying, Rich is very notorious with those kinds of videos. I assure you he's awful. That's the thing, dude, is like, I think I was a little bit too easy on him because a lot of people were telling me, like, dude, like, this is what he does. Like, and it kind of, I thought about that, and I'm like, I remember when I listened to the original video, it was just awful, dude. And not, here's the thing. I'm not saying, like, he's a terrible human being. No, like, dude, you know, he's a content creator like everybody else. I see, like, people wonder, like, why don't you talk about these Xbox dudes and their clickbait and the crap they do? Because, dude, like, they don't hide it, man. Sometimes they do. And it frustrates me. Just own up to it. You know, just have the balls to at least admit who you are and what you're doing. Because at least then, you know what to expect. You know? Jeffrey, you're saying, so Final Fantasy VII Remake integrate Guilty Gear Strive and Ratchet & Clank within a 24-hour period between June 10th and 11th. What will the critics say then, LOL? Yeah, good question. What will they say then? What will they say then? But the PS5's DualSense stick drift and the you know, I don't know. I don't know what they'll say, man. They'll think of something. I guess I just get so frustrated. People don't understand that I don't get frustrated because it's like, oh no, you're talking badly about PlayStation. Like, not at all. I told you, like, I clicked on that video just like I did with that stupid Returnal 1080p nonsense video, thinking there's something of substance here, and there's just not. And this is where I'm just saying we need to be better than this. We all want the clicks. Anybody who's involved in the game, anybody who's playing the game, we all want the clicks. We all want the views. And I'm not playing innocent here. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I haven't done this, that I haven't made clickbait videos. Although I will admit, I've never made a clickbait video that was just like legitimately just not at all what the video is about. I've stretched the truth a little bit. I have, maybe I've pumped something up and inflated it to something bigger than it was. But I've always tried to take pride in the fact that I've never blatantly like, hey, click this video because you think it's something completely different. You know what I mean? And, anytime I've done something that maybe was taking it too far, I saw the feedback and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you guys are right. Like, I think one of the worst videos, it wasn't even one of the worst videos, but it was just the timing of it. I remember I made a video trying to compare Death Stranding to Gears 5. And it was like, this wasn't even clickbait. It was just clearly me trying to take a crap on Gears 5 and talk up Death Stranding. And people were like, dude, like, you don't got to do that, man. Like, Gears 5, you don't like it, you don't want to play it, leave it alone. Just talk about Death Stranding. And I pulled the video down, I'm like, yeah, you guys are right. Like, this is ridiculous, And I lived and I learned. But I try my best not to do stuff like that anymore, because it's like, you may not even realize it when you're doing it, but dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you gotta be better than that. D-Dog, you're saying, does the PS5 have too many games? Story 11. Yeah, that's going to be, yeah, D-Dog, that's going to be the new narrative. That's going to be the new narrative. What are we going to do? Sony's giving us too many games. They need to be more like Xbox. I mean, I guess if, one of the reasons why I was frustrated is because, I think that Ratchet and Clank has earned its hype. I could sit here and say Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is going to be the greatest video game ever made, and nothing will even come close to touching it. And a lot of people will say, what? Maybe that's taking it too far. And it is. And I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, and I think that this is a fact, I'm just trying to point out that I could say a lot of things that are not in my, I'm not going to say in my opinion. I could say a lot of things that are not objectively true. But when I sit here and I say Ratchet and Clank, it earned the hype it has around it, and it did so because what it's showing is impressing people, and people like it. And not only that, but the reason why literally no one is out here worried about what resolution Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart's performance mode is going to be at is because anybody who's planning on playing this game most likely either played Spider-Man Miles Morales or Demon's Souls or both, and they are well aware that performance modes on PS5 are pretty great, and there's no need to worry. So, we have that, and we have IGN, man. IGN, does it ever stop with them? I don't think it does, but we have IGN, Justin Davis, I don't really feel the need to be as hard on that individual, because it just, like, to me, it just seemed like he had a really bad take. Where it gets interesting, and I'm not talking about this too much because I just do not care that much, but a lot of people were telling me that this dude was straight up lying, that he said in his tweet that he plays an Xbox game every night while talking about how he doesn't play his PS5 because the PS5 doesn't have enough games, apparently. And he stated that he plays an Xbox game every night, and people were saying that they were looking at his profile or whatever, and it turns out that, like, he hasn't been on his Xbox in 2 weeks or a week or something like that. And, like, I mean, whether it's true or not, I don't care, because, like, the nonsense that's being put out here, it's like, it wouldn't surprise me if that was true, but I don't need that to feel like I don't need that as a reason to feel like I can pick apart what you're saying. I can pick apart what you're saying because it's just not correct. Again, logic, it's all about the logic behind it. Like, where's the logic in saying that, I wouldn't recommend the PS5 until it has more games. Well, we're at the beginning of a generation, and the last time I checked, for both Sony and Microsoft, in terms of exclusives, yeah, they're not going to have anywhere near the same amount of exclusives for these consoles that they will 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now. Again, logically, that's just, you can put, that's 2 plus 2 equals 4. Anybody can get that. But when you pit that fact that, oh, well, these consoles don't have a ton of games yet, you might want to wait against, but let me tell you why you should buy a Series X for $500 and subscribe to Game Pass instead. I don't get it. It's not logical. It's just not. It's ignoring a huge fact that completely dismantles the entire argument you're trying to create. Matt McDonald, you're saying PS needs more fun multiplayer. They have high quality single player, but nothing compared to how much fun I have on Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Halo, etc. Believe it or not, I do agree with that, man. I've been saying for some time that I know for a fact that Sony has more multiplayer games in development than we know about right now. They're not coming at the cost, like when we see some multiplayer games revealed, they're not coming at the cost of, well, this means we're going to get less single player AAA, narrative driven experiences. No, both are going to exist simultaneously. But Sony is working on that. I'm a big fan of multiplayer games as well. So I hope to see that too. I think Sony would really benefit from that. I know that, some people don't care. See somebody hyping up The Last of Us multiplayer. Dude, I'm excited for that. I want to see that. I definitely want to see what The Last of Us multiplayer is going to be. Because, they've been working on that for a while. All right, guys, we're going to move right along here. I don't want to spend too much time on topics that I've already discussed throughout the week with some of the news or reactionary videos. So we're going to move right along. Once again, guys, please hit that like button. We're going to be talking about, and, I was thinking about making a dedicated video to this, but I'm just going to talk about it here because I find it fascinating. Okay? An Xbox executive has teased a new Xbox IP that will apparently blow our minds. So this is reading from WCCF Tech. Microsoft's Ben Decker, general manager for gaming services at Xbox. Now, I did talk about this briefly on the last podcast, but I just want to bring it up here again because I feel as though it fits. I do believe that with the overarching theme here that we have going on. So Ben Decker, general manager of gaming services at Xbox, was recently featured in an interview with Games Radar about the growth of Xbox Game Pass. The service has grown a lot during the past year, unsurprisingly, given the fact that most people were forced at home for a long time. The juiciest tidbit from the interview is, however, that Decker teased a, quote, mind-blowing, unquote, new intellectual property that is in the works at Microsoft's first-party game studios. And so he said 55% of those surveyed said a main reason they joined is to get a new game at release, that day one content. That's why we made the investments that we have. We have 23 studios across Xbox and Bethesda working on Halo, Forza, Fallout, and new IP that we haven't even talked about yet that's going to blow your mind. We can deliver all of that into Game Pass day one. So, I guess I just want to ask you guys, I'll tell you what I think in a second, but I want to ask my audience, I know that most of us here are PlayStation fans. What do we think of that? Are we excited for this new IP that, they have? I'm going to sit here and say that I am kind of interested for sure. I like the fact that it's a new IP. Do I think it's going to blow my mind? Well, there's always a possibility. It could blow my mind maybe with how disappointing it ends up being, being brutally honest. But, I just think it's weird. I'm just going to be honest right now. I don't think it's weird that a Microsoft executive is hyping up his own games or the games that they have or hyping up even a new IP. But it's just at what point do we stop talking? He mentioned Fallout, and I'm like, wait, when's the next Fallout going to come out? Why are you mentioning that? That would be like Sony mentioning, I don't even know. I don't even know what that's comparable to. It'd be like Sony mentioning the next, I would say Uncharted, but that's been a long time. I don't know. It's just like Sony mentioning a game that we know is, yeah, it's like Sony hyping up Sony London's next AAA game or something. Like, it's not. It's like Sony hyping up The Last of Us 3, if that's even going to be a thing. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not happening anytime soon. It's just not, you know? Figuratively, literally saying, the Craig Chronicles? Yeah, right? Yeah, it's like hyping up God of War 3 or Infamous 4. Like, come on. Like, we know a new Fallout's coming. We know a new Halo's coming. We know a new Forza's coming. There's no need to hype this stuff up until we're close to it. Halo, hype it up. You got that coming out soon. I heard that apparently Forza Horizon 5 is launching this year. If that's true, I'm definitely going to play that on my PC for sure if I can't get a Series X. But it's just like, I feel like this is all Xbox executives do. And it frustrates me because I see these videos and this content that's created by, Xbox content creators. And I'm not condemning them for that, because I would do the same thing. Dude, if Jim Ryan or Herman Hulst came out tomorrow and they're like, yo, we got this. You know what? They have done this. In fact, they have done this with Haven Studios and this Firewalk Studios multiplayer game. These games are probably years away. And, they're not overhyping them. They're just giving them a blog post. But it's like, do you see the difference here where it's like, I actually think it's totally justifiable and okay for Sony to talk the talk when they feel the need to talk the talk, like they did this past week with that Wired article. I think it's totally justified and okay for Sony to talk about 25 exclusives regardless of where they may be in development or how far out they may be or how close they may be, because they're walking the walk, man. And I feel like I talk about this every week, but you know why I talk about it every week, guys? Because every week we have a new round of headlines about Xbox said this, and this Xbox executive said that, and this Xbox insider said this, and there's this new rumor here. And it's like, God, like, I get it, man. I get it. You guys have games coming eventually, but it's like, how much longer? And so this is why I said I'm really excited. Truly, I am. I'm very excited for this year's events between Sony and Microsoft. Somebody asked me earlier in the super chat, when is PlayStation's summer showcase? I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say it's going to be in June. It could be in July. It seems like things are running a little bit behind in the industry this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit later than we expected. But I'll tell you what I do expect. When Sony does have their event, I expect them to kick the goddamn doors down, is what I'm expecting. And no, that doesn't come in the form of they're going to announce every single game that they have in development. They're going to show every game. No. I want you to just picture this for a second. Okay, I want you to picture this for a second. Let's picture Sony's event. Now, I'm going to ask you guys right now in the chat, okay, go crazy if you want. I don't care. Give me your wildest expectations. Give me your most tame expectations. Just tell me what you think Sony's going to show. You could tell me just one thing you think they're going to show. You can tell me everything. Have at it in the chat, because I'm going to tell you right now, I want you to picture this. And the reason why I'm setting this up this way is because I know that a lot of you are going to mention games that are not Horizon Forbidden West, that are not God of War, the next God of War, okay? I mean, a lot of you are going to mention those games because, they're games that are announced. We know we're going to see Horizon. We know there's a very good chance we're going to see God of War. And so I just want you to keep in mind that all these other games you're listing outside of these two, they may or may not be there. They may or may not exist. But what I'm trying to convey right now is this. Sony could hold an event in June or July where they only show back-to-back 15-minute gameplay chunks of Horizon Forbidden West, right? Like, picture this. They open with, and there's going to be more of this, but they open with a 15 to 20 minute, maybe 20 minutes too long. Even 15 minutes is maybe too long. Let's just say anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes of Horizon Forbidden West gameplay, just raw gameplay, right? Showing off all the new stuff, running on PS5, obviously. And then it fades to black, and then a proper God of War story trailer comes in, or maybe not even a story trailer. Like they open up God of War like they did with the first ever God of War gameplay, where it's a mixture of the cinematic and gameplay. There's no cuts. And then they just show 10 to 15 minutes of raw God of War Ragnarok, or whatever it's going to be called, gameplay. What do you think those two things alone are going to do? Like, what do you think Xbox is going to have? I mean, maybe Starfield could excite people, and maybe it could compete with Horizon and God of War, but and maybe this is just my bias showing, but I just feel that when Sony drops those two things, just those, not talking about anything else they have in development, from their first party or their partnerships, and especially God of War, man, dude, I'm not trying to overhype this stuff, and I know that's what it sounds like, but I am confident. I have the utmost confidence that God of War, when we see this next game, unless it just goes completely off the rails and does something absolutely absurd that no one ever saw coming, which I don't think it will, okay? Unless it does something like that, I have the utmost confidence that God of War, Kratos and Atreus, they are going to literally rip and tear anything apart that Microsoft has. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just, you can't, they're not going to touch it. But Elder Scrolls is so much bigger. I don't care, man. I do not care. You could tell me I can get Elder Scrolls 6 at the end of this year, and Starfield and Halo Infinite in Game Pass day one. I'm not trading God of War for any of those. And I do not think any of those games, you want to say, if you want to say Elder Scrolls is more popular than God of War, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't have data in front of me, but I don't care. Because I will tell you right now, dude, I'm almost certain God of War is going to be just, it's going to be incredible, dude. It is. God of War is going to suplex everybody. And look, I know that people like, dude, you're getting ahead of yourself. You're sounding crazy now. You know, comparing God of War to the next Elder Scrolls. I know I'm getting a little bit out here. You're saying, bro, Starfield, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, like greater sign times 6, God of War, The Last of Us, real talk. Okay, I'll put it to you this way. There are people who believe that a game like or series like the Elder Scrolls or, you know, Fallout, that these games are significantly better than God of War. And you know what? That's fair. I'm not going to argue with you because everybody's entitled to their opinion. If you actually think that if you have a better time with a game like Skyrim than, say, God of War 2018, then that's fine. You know, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say you're not entitled to that. But on the other end of the spectrum, you see me. And I feel the exact opposite. Like, and maybe it's just because I was never a Bethesda fan, but I'm just saying, man, I don't want to lose track here. By the way, you may hear my neighbor's lawnmower, just a heads up. You're saying 30 million in sales for Skyrim, my guy, LMAO. Look, all right, maybe Skyrim, maybe the Elder Scrolls brand trumps the God of War brand in terms of reach, in terms of how popular it is, okay? I'm not trying to make it like a popularity contest. You know, I do apologize if that's how I'm making it sound, because that's all superficial stuff. You know what I mean? I guess what I'm trying to say is that, you know what, actually, let me think about, hold on. Whoa, hold on. Again, I want to speak in facts. I want to speak logically before I get too hyped up. Let me just search. I'm gonna have to search this myself. Because I don't want to rely on the chat. I want to see I want to get this straight. All right, give me a second. So, how many copies has Skyrim sold? Holy crap, that's more than I was expecting. Really? So it said, okay, this is just a quick Google search. The first thing that pops up, 50 million copies. Skyrim has sold 50 million copies worldwide, and with the whole Elder Scrolls series, over 500 million copies sold. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. You know, let me just see here. How many copies has God of... I'm not saying that sales are everything, but I'm actually just interested in the data here. God of War released on April 2018, sold over 10 million copies by May 2019, so that's about a year. The franchise has crossed 40 million copies sold worldwide. That means an additional 11 million copies or more in the franchise were sold since then to make up the aforementioned 51 million figure. Okay, so this is just quick data that I'm like searching. I don't know how accurate it is. If this is the case, then okay, you cannot compare God of War to Elder Scrolls like I'm trying to do and compare sales. All right, and yeah, there's a lot of different factors, such as God of War is an exclusive, on a single platform, to whereas, has the God of War franchise been around as long as Elder Scrolls? I don't think it has. Elder Scrolls is a multi-plat, and yes, they did milk Skyrim to death. So, seeing 50 million copies, you're saying the 500 million copies is not true. Well, okay, well then I guess a quick Google. I don't know where that data was coming from. That's just what Google told me. Google's may be wrong. So, no, Skyrim itself didn't sell 500 million. So, all right, look. I'm getting ahead of myself. I do not want to pit God of War against Elder Scrolls or God of War against Starfield. I just, I feel like inherently this year we're going to see that happen at some point. Because do we believe... let me ask you guys this real quick. All right, let me ask you guys this. You're saying Fallout was also a huge IP. Yeah, I'm not saying these IPs aren't huge. Halo has sold 90 million total. So what? Okay, this is starting to sound weird to me. So Halo's 90 million, but the Elder Scrolls 500 million? That's a lot, dude. That's a lot. Anyway, listen. Here's what I want to say, because I can't go much longer with the podcast. My voice is starting to go. Somebody in the comments after this, because I know there's going to be a lot of contention in the comments for this. Please, somebody show some clarity here. Let us know what's going on with the sales figures for Skyrim. I might have to do, or not Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls in general. Let me know. Look that up for me. Whatever you got to do, because I can't do it on the fly here. But maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm trying to... You're saying look at Wikipedia. Yeah, I guess I could do that. I'm getting too far off the point I'm trying to make here. All right. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that this summer, we're going to see big events from Sony and Microsoft. And I want to ask you guys in the chat, let me know, do you believe Sony is going to show God of War proper at their next event? Or do you think they're just going to focus on Horizon and God of War may be absent? Do you think God of War may be absent? Do you think that maybe Sony doesn't want to have Horizon and God of War kind of go together? I mean, I think they're going to show God of War. And you know why I think that? I think Sony is extremely confident in Horizon Forbidden West and its ability to impress. And they're going to show a lengthy gameplay demonstration of it, get people really hyped. They're going to announce a release date for holiday 2021. And people are going to love that, right? But I think that Sony is not concerned. Maybe they're concerned, but I think that they are very much ready and anticipating Microsoft is going to go in a lot bigger this year now that they have Bethesda. So Sony is not just contending with a dedicated Xbox E3 event, they're also contending with a dedicated Bethesda event where it could turn out that every single Bethesda game that's announced at that event is not coming to PlayStation. Therefore, it's an Xbox ecosystem exclusive, right? You're saying if they show Starfield, game over, MBG. See, I'm not of that mindset. I'm just not of that mindset. Dude, I could be wrong. I could be shocked. We could see Starfield shown off for the first time, and it's like, I'm shocked at what we're seeing, right? Who knows? You're saying Elder Scrolls Blades Mobile had 120 million players. That is crazy if that's true. That's a lot of players, dude. Wasn't that free to... I think that was free to play though. Wasn't? I don't know. It's mobile though. I mean, it's expected that, you know, the barrier of entry is like non-existent. But all right, let's just get away. All right, I didn't mean to compare. I'm sure that the Elder Scrolls as a brand is more recognized and just bigger in general than God of War. But I think God of War has the potential with the momentum it has. Like, God of War is pretty big too, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm just saying God of War, I think, has reached a new level since 2018. And I think that they could really capitalize on that with the next game to really just kind of like take it to another level. You know what I mean? Really, saying really backfired, huh? I don't know. I mean, I don't look at it as like it backfired on me. The way I see it is, in my just viewing from my eyes, okay, just my perspective, I'm way more hyped to see the next God of War than I am to see Starfield or Fallout or Elder Scrolls. Now, if you were to ask me, well, have you played previous Elder Scrolls and Fallout games? No, I was never a fan of them. So that explains it, right? I think I just took it too far by trying to, you know, pit them against each other and be like, well, you know, I'm just saying that I think Sony is going to bring Kratos to their next event. And I think that Sony is relying on Kratos and Aloy with Horizon to really deliver like a 1-2 punch that I'm not saying Microsoft can't counter, but it's just, I think it's a surefire win for Sony if they deliver, you know, both Horizon and God of War at their next event. I think that that's just going to generate an immense amount of excitement and hype, and people are going to really like what they see. And it's just going to add more pressure for Microsoft to make sure that whatever they show, it has to be good. Like, Halo Infinite already has a ton of pressure because it's like, it's going to be under a lot of scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? Halo Infinite's already under a lot of scrutiny, so it's going to be up to 343 to make sure when they show this game proper again, it's going to have to impress. Starfield, we already talked about that at length. So, you know, it's, who knows? Maybe it'll just be even across the board. You know, maybe Sony will show Horizon and God of War as their two main, like, first-party titles, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then Microsoft shows off a new Halo Infinite gameplay chunk, and then they show off Starfield, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then after that, maybe where the competition really lies, because they both are doing good, maybe, you know, hopefully that's how it'll go down. That would be great. Maybe where the competition really lies. No, you can't come up here now, Leia. She's trying to, my mic's too close. Get out. Maybe where the competition really lies is in the other games that they show. You know, we'll have to see about that. But I will tell you that you're saying there is literally no intelligent discussion here, just bootlicking. Dude, I literally just said we could see a scenario where both Sony and Microsoft get people super hyped with what they show. How is that not an intelligent discussion? If you want to say it wasn't intelligent to try to compare God of War sales and milestones to Elder Scrolls as a brand, then sure, I can agree with that. But come on, man. Like, I'm just simply saying I think there's going to be a lot going on. Like, and I think that for once, Microsoft may bring the heat with Bethesda, man, and Sony, I think Sony's going to they're going to bring their own heat. And I think what's going to be interesting is to see, come on, Leia. Hold on, guys. You can't. My mic's too close. I'm sorry. You got to go. You got to go. She really wants to be part of this. Saying Judah, you're saying not to be picky, but no way Starfield will even be an Xbox ecosystem exclusive. Pretty sure it will be sold on Steam as well. It could. No. You're not going back there either. Dude, my cat's trying to ruin my stream. She's sabotaging my stream. Get out. Come on. Hunbella, you're saying the question is God of War a 10 times better game than the Elder Scrolls? The answer is yes. Dude, look, I'm not trying to upset Elder Scrolls fans or Xbox fans, but that's basically what I'm getting at. For me, I'm not saying objectively, because we can't speak that way. Elder Scrolls, you know, Skyrim and just the Elder Scrolls games, they're looked at very highly and they're well respected. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just saying for me, I like God of War a lot better, and I just, I guess maybe I can only speak for myself and other people who aren't big fans of Elder Scrolls. I'm just, I hate talking like this because people think I'm lying. And that's what bothers me. Like, they think, like, now that Elder Scrolls is most likely going to be an Xbox only game and it's not coming to PlayStation, that, I don't like Elder Scrolls. Guys, I've had the same energy my entire life. Like, I really need to express that. Believe me, if Xbox bought IP that, like, I really cared about, like, if I find out Microsoft bought the MGS IP, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. I mean, I'm going to be happy because I'm like, finally, maybe we could see something done with it. But I'll lose my mind because I'll be like, that should have been Sony's IP. It should have been. It definitely should have been. And I would be hyped as hell to see what Microsoft would do with Metal Gear Solid. I'd be scared, very scared, but hyped nonetheless. Figuratively, literal, you're saying Sony's biggest IP is Gran Turismo with 85 million units and most main entries selling over 10 million, whereas the Elder Scrolls has sold 58 million according to Wikipedia. Well, okay, figuratively literal, 58 million. Is that the entire Elder Scrolls catalog or just Skyrim? Because that's where I'm confused. Because Google, just my quick Google search, not Wikipedia, it said Skyrim alone is 50 million. So that's the part I'm confused about. But yeah, Gran Turismo is huge, if that's true. Wow. That's crazy. Anyway, look, guys, I'm not trying to pit these games against each other, saying that, like, when I say God of War is going to tear through anything Microsoft shows, that's just how I see it. And I know that not everybody sees it that way. That's just, if anything, that should just let you know how hyped I am for the next God of War, where, like, that is my game, man. Like, that is my most anticipated game. God of War 2018 is a very special game to me, and there's just nothing else out there as of right now that I feel like my excitement levels for actually seeing it for the first time come even close. Like, I'm very much interested to see Starfield for the first time. I'm very much interested to see Halo Infinite and how it's progressed, but I gotta tell you guys, like, my hype levels for Horizon and especially God of War, nothing Xbox has in the works right now comes anywhere close to it. Nothing. But I am excited to see Hellblade 2 and State of Decay 3 as well, so hopefully we see that. You're saying that's their entire catalog. Then where is this 500 million coming from? Let me check the source here. So, hold on. Let me see. Elder Scrolls total sales. Let me see. 58 million. The series has sold. Okay, really quick. Skyrim is only one of the Elder Scrolls games. Yeah. Is Oblivion, that's an Elder Scrolls game, correct? You're saying the 500 million is a fake number? Yeah, I'm like, that can't be real. Like, 500 million has I don't think even a game, like a franchise like GTA. You know what? Let me see. How many units has GTA sold? Because I know GTA is so this says 140 million. But I'm pretty sure that's just 5, right? Tetris has 500 million. You know what? Here we go. Best-selling games of all time. Let's just figure this out, all right? Wikipedia, list of best-selling games of all time. Let's check out this list. Oh my god. No. That's not right either. That's not helping me, because this is just individual games. Minecraft is number 1, though, for an individual game. That's crazy. You're asking if your comments are blocked? No, they're not. So, okay. Best-selling game franchise of all time. This went way off the rails, but I'm just curious now. Okay, here we go. Now we have franchises. Wow. Okay. So number one is Mario. 767 million sold. So that's not surprising. Then we have Tetris at like close to 500 million. Call of Duty, 400 million. Super Mario, 380 million. Pokemon, 371 million. FIFA, 325 million. Grand Theft Auto, 320 million. Wii, I guess that's like Wii Sports, right? 202 million. Lego, The Sims, Minecraft, Final Fantasy at 159 million. Okay, now we can put it to rest. The Elder Scrolls has not sold 500 million copies. In case you're wondering how not in tune with Bethesda I am, why did I think that? Man, Google trolled me, man. They're like, this guy's doing a live podcast. Dude, I'm not even kidding. The first thing that came up, that was the first thing that came up on Google. You're saying, bro, the whole Elder Scrolls franchise, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, 500 million. That's not, according to Wikipedia, that's not true, apparently. In fact, the Elder Scrolls isn't on here at all. The last one on the list here is Resident Evil at 110 million. Unless, like, yeah, I mean, all of the Elder Scrolls is essentially the brand, and every game that's released under the Elder Scrolls, like Oblivion, Skyrim, they're all bunched up. So, I don't know. MBG, it just works. Man, dude, you know what didn't help? The chat's trolling me. They're like, yeah, dude, the Elder Scrolls 500 million, man, definitely. And they know full well. Google's trolling me. I was going to say, like, 500 million sounds absurd, but I'm not very well versed in the history of Elder Scrolls. I just know that Skyrim is like, with how many times they re-released Skyrim, I believed it. I'm like, well, you're saying anyone can edit Wikipedia. Yeah, but this seems pretty legit, man. So they have, okay, here's another list they have here. At least 50 million copies. So at least 50 million, okay? So NBA 2K, 90 million. Tom Clancy, 82. Gran Turismo. So there's a Sony franchise on here. Like you said, figuratively literal. So we have Gran Turismo at 85 million, like you said. Halo, 81 million. The Elder Scrolls, 58.5 million. I gotta figure this out. Because I'm now annoyed that Google is telling me 500 million. Watch, I just read it wrong. I bet you that's what happened. I gotta go all the way back now, though. How many copies has Skyrim sold? Dude, it says it right here. This is from... Oh, okay. I should have sourced it first. ElderScrollsFandom.com. ElderScrollsFandom.com. I got trolled. Rory, you're saying just Googled it. The Elder Scrolls sold 58 million. Yeah. So if that's the case, then God of War is right next to it at like 51 million. Unless that number's incorrect too. So it says here from ElderScrolls.fandom.com. Word for word. Reading it right now. Skyrim has sold 50 million copies worldwide, and with the whole Elder Scrolls series, over 500 million copies sold. True story, and everyone who has bought the games are glad. Why is that the top thing that's the first thing that comes up when I Google how many copies has Skyrim sold? Wow. Wow. Let me see here. We're just having fun now at this point. Leo Jimmy, how many consoles Elder Scrolls been on? Ain't it on PC too? Why are we comparing to Sony exclusives? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. I want to go back to the best-selling video game franchises real quick. Game franchises all time. Because I wanted to continue going down that list real quick with you guys before we end this. So I think we ended somewhere around Halo. Scrolling back down, obviously a lot of Nintendo properties here, which is crazy. Okay, so yeah, Gran Turismo is ahead of the Elder Scrolls. Okay, at 85 million. The Elder Scrolls is at 58.5. Battlefield is at 57. Metal Gear. Wow, Metal Gear's higher up there than I thought at 57 million. That's really good. Mortal Kombat, 54. Wow, Metal Gear's ahead of Mortal Kombat? That's crazy. That is crazy. God of War, 51 million. So you know what? Going back to what I said before I got trolled about that 500 million. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess am I on crack? Because I would have to be on, you'd have to be on crack to believe that, wouldn't you? To believe 500 million, saying all these numbers are hurting your brain. Dude, how do you think I feel? I sat here and believed that the Elder Scrolls sold 500 million. Oh my God, dude. But you know what? I think it just kind of, I'm glad we did this though. I'm glad we did this because I think it harkens back to the point that I tried to make, honestly. I do. Hold on. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, Plasmic H, you said might be counting the mobile game Blades? Yeah, I mean, maybe it's doing some weird stuff like that. I don't know, but, you know, it harkens back to the point that I tried to make, and I'm not trying to pit them against each other where it's like, oh, like, you know, Elder Scrolls sold more copies than God of War in total, so it's a better game. I'm just saying, like, I just think Sony's gonna go for the throat, man. I don't think Sony's gonna hold back. They might hold back. I mean, I think if you want to ask me, you know, will Sony hold back this year with their event at all? You know, my answer to that question, I think it truly depends on how many games that they haven't revealed yet that are true PS5 exclusives. Because knowing that they are still going to struggle to get anywhere close to meeting demand for the PS5 until 2022, then, you know, at that point, I'm going to say they might hold back. They might have to, you know? And that could be an advantage that Microsoft has with their events, is Microsoft doesn't have to hold back because they're not bound to Xbox Series X exclusives. They don't have to worry, well, if we're going to struggle to meet demand, right? If we're going to struggle to meet demand for the next year and a half, potentially, should we show this game yet? Should we get people hyped for it, you know? Or would it be better off to hold on to it longer until we can make more consoles and then really hype it up so people go out there and buy it? It's hard to say. It's hard to, like, is God of War going to be a PS4 game? That's another question, people. I'm going to tell you right now, yes, it is. It is. Guys, come on. You got to use, again, this is where you have to try to think more about just the logical side of, like, you know, like what would Sony as a business do logically? They're gonna put God of War on PS4. I know that some of us don't want to hear that, but you know, development finished in, I'm assuming, maybe, you know, early 2018, maybe a little bit before that, and they already started work on a sequel. They clearly saw the pre-order numbers for it and they saw the hype for it, so obviously a sequel immediately got greenlit. They immediately started work on the sequel, so they've probably been working on the PS4 longer than they've been working on the PS5. And I just think that that's a reality. So, dude, if God of War is a PS5 exclusive, I'm gonna hit the roof, dude. Because that means we're in for something, even better than I could have imagined. Literally, even better. But I think it's gonna be PS4 as well. I'm fully anticipating that. I will tell you this though. It is interesting to me that Horizon has been confirmed to be, like, let's just, and this is the last thing I'm going to say because I really got to end this podcast. It's going on too long. I try not to go to the 3-hour mark. I just think that's too long and my voice is really going. But, you know, let's remember when both, in 2020, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War, the sequel, Ragnarok, whatever, they were both confirmed for 2021. Okay, we just saw more of Horizon than God of War, but they were both confirmed for 2021. That tells me, and the fact that, like, God of War has not been mentioned since, it might be a PS5 exclusive, guys. It might be, because, Sony does not care about holding back Horizon at all because it's going to release on PS4. So if they can only sell X amount of copies on the PS5 because this is how many PS5s are out on the market and this is how many PS5s they can sell, they don't have to worry about Horizon, because Horizon is going to go on to sell millions and millions of copies on the PS4. The fact that they are being so hush-hush about God of War, I want to say that may indicate, possibly, and I could be dead wrong here, but it may indicate that it might be a PS5 exclusive, and that's why they're being so hush-hush about it. They want to really wait until they can really saturate the market rapidly with more PS5s. But they're going to have to show it at some point. I'm going to tell you this right now. Lock this in. This is how I'll end the podcast before we do the outro. Let's lock this in right now. You ready? I'm going to make a statement. And I think that this statement will turn out to be 100% correct. I could be wrong, but I'm feeling confident in this statement. The statement I'm going to make: if the next God of War doesn't show up to any capacity, at any capacity this year, at any Sony event, it's not talked about, it's just not a thing. It just doesn't show up at all this year. At that point, I will be 100% convinced it's a PS5 only game. For sure. For sure. So, I could be wrong. And obviously, you can all let me know that I'm wrong if in 2022, God of War is not seen until 2022 and it's still a PS4 game. But I really feel that if it's not even referenced at all this year at any Sony event or anything, I think it's going to be PS5 only. And then that begs the question, like, well, do I want that? Do I want to wait longer to see God of War if it's PS5 only? I mean, I kind of don't. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I kind of don't, man. Like, I want to see God of War. I want to see it. I mean, there is always the chance that we could see it this year and it could still be PS5 only. If God of War is not going to release till sometime in 2022, that's presumably when Sony will be able to get a lot more PS5s out there by that point, right? Then maybe it could still be PS5 only and we could see it. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. So the ending, the last part of this podcast clearly went way off the rails. So I'm going to have to end it here, guys. And, I want to give a big thank you to all of you who continue to support this podcast. I know that things get a little bit heated. I get a little bit crazy, but I know you guys enjoy it. And I love doing this with you guys. Big thank you to all of those of you who support with Super Chats. I'm going to take those Super Chats and I'm going to hopefully invest in a much better webcam or camera, or just something better, since I'm going to be on camera more and I am on camera more. So forgive the quality of that. But hopefully this stream went well for everybody. This was the first stream I've done with... I missed your Super Chat, King 2002. You said wild cards for Xbox are Hellblade 2 and Avowed. I hope I didn't miss any more Super Chats. Sorry I'm getting to that so late, man. I don't think I missed any. I think that was the only one. So apologies for that. But yeah, this was the first proper stream I did with the new hardware. And it seems like it went really well. A lot of people saying that, it was much smoother. So... this with these specs I now have in my PC, I should be able to stream as many reactions with as much stuff going on as I want. I got strong internet, so I enjoyed it. Everything went well on my end. And so, yeah, big thank you to everybody who took time to hang out with me. Thank you for all the Super Chats. Big shout out to my members. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Please go check them out if you haven't. Look forward to the videos that are coming up this week. We are now entering we're We're entering, I think, the third week of May now, if I'm not mistaken. I think that started today. But yeah, we're getting deeper into May, and I think, maybe really quick before I go, chat, let me know. Is it just me, or does it feel like things are ramping up much more slowly this year than they normally do? Is it just me that feels that way? Or is it because we just had the crazy roller coaster ride of the PS5 and Series X last year that made it seem like things happened much quicker? It feels like things are just slower this year, And I do think that's due to, the pandemic and whatnot. But I'm just trying to figure out if it's just me. So, a lot of people are saying yes. All right. You're saying it's not just me. Okay. Good. I'm glad, because things have been definitely a little bit slower. But now that we are hitting mid-May, we're getting deeper into May, closer to June, I suspect things are going to start to ramp up a little bit more. At least that's what I'm hoping for, a little bit more quickly. So we'll see, man. One last thing, dude. We haven't heard any PlayStation leaks or rumors. Doesn't anybody find that strange? I find that strange. We haven't heard anything, dude, about games and nothing's leaking. I thought by now we'd be like, oh guys, it's been leaked that the next God of War is going to be at Sony's next event. It's weird. Anyway, I need to end this. I just keep going on and on. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for episode 61 of Press X Podcast. I hope you did enjoy it. Once again, big shout out to all my members, as well as Devil Shooter for doing the timestamps. Really appreciate that, man. So I will catch you guys hopefully tomorrow with another video, and we'll probably have some more live streams later this week. And then I'll see you guys back here again, same time, same place next week for episode 62 of Press X Podcast. But that does it, guys. Until next time, take care.